We're good. Okay, we are live on YouTube and go live on TikTok. Okay. We are live. Okay. Welcome in. I wanted to do a evidence that hell exists today, but my real job called, and so I didn't have time to really set anything up. So, hello. I just wanted to jump in and get this live started. I want to stay on schedule as close as I can. So, happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. So we want to make sure and double tap that screen. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you? Make sure everybody taps that screen, share the live out. You can long tap and your friends list will come up. You can share it out to everybody. Let's try to get 100 shares in today. Doing everything we can to support this live. And welcome in, friends on YouTube. Glad you're here. Yeah, my day job called and I was hoping to get over to the new format that I've been trying to set up here. And I got the part that I needed. I needed a TRRS cable and I have it. And now I just need the time to set it up. And well, it's easy to change my mind. Very, very easy. Just give me some evidence. That's all we need to do. Thoughts on deism? Really no thoughts. It's possible, remotely possible. But I do want to talk to people who believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. Deism, it tends to be pretty short conversations. I mean, unless someone's really looking for a fight. But remember, you can't be a disciple of Jesus unless you hate yourself and your family. Sounds pretty cultish. I'm pretty sure people have given you evidence, but you don't want to believe. Ooh, a mind reader. So we have our first mind reader today. Well, why don't you come up and give me evidence and find out? Do you think matter in the universe always has existed, or did it have a beginning? I would say modern physics says matter likely had a beginning. So the laws of thermodynamics, as far as matter is concerned, are a little bit outdated. And I know so as I read more, I find out more. Why atheist and not agnostic? I'm an agnostic atheist. Atheist just means you don't believe in the existence of any gods. That's all it means. Now, there are Gnostic atheists who say, I don't believe and I know there are no gods. And there are agnostic atheists like me. I don't know and I don't believe. So, spectrum. But it starts with belief. No one can prove God is real. Then why believe it? If we can't prove God's real, then why believe it? There's no point in believing it. You can't be agnostic and atheist. Says who? Prove it. Agnostic makes the most sense. We will never truly know. Maybe. But it is a belief. For you not to believe, you'd have to know he's not real. So that means, Ministry of God, you believe in fairies. You believe in leprechauns, because for you to not believe in leprechauns, you have to know they're not real. That makes no sense, Ministry of God. That's nonsense. Atheist is you don't believe in any God. That's correct. Very easy to demonstrate. So make sure you're double tapping that screen. Let's get to 5,000 likes. And let's make sure that we're doing everything we can to support it. I don't have any evidence that God is just. So I'm asking you. So what's your evidence that God is just? That's what we're talking about today. What's up, Lobes, the absurdist? What is up? I just gave you my answer. I don't have any evidence that God is just. That's the answer from me. None. How do you feel about being forced into Christianity as a kid? Do you think they should have a say? I would say that with the dangerousness of Christianity, it's questionable. But then it's so nuanced. It's like a slippery slope. It's very, very nuanced. What would you say I am labeled? I believe in God, but I don't necessarily trust God. Maybe an agnostic Christian? An agnostic theist? So let's get our evidence out that God is just. What is the evidence? Pseudo V Science, hello. Good to see you. All right. Still not quite at 5,000 likes, and we need some shares. So long press on your screen, share it out to your friends list. We only have 4 shares. So goal is to get to 100 shares. And just like that, we doubled to 8. So very good. I already answered that question in the YouTube comment. So you can go to the YouTube recording and play it back. So do not believe in hell. Nope. We have no evidence that hell exists. I was actually going to do a live on what's your best evidence that hell exists. And hey, Dr. Joe, I was going to do that, but that I didn't have time to set up the screens and all that stuff. I still may. Bose is feeling heavy from lack of wife. Yeah, you think that? That's really funny. My wife would disagree with you. So excellent. We are sharing the live out. Yeah, I was going to do one on hell. And didn't get the chance to set up the screen. I even got like a moving screen, and I got a moving background and everything. But you know, a lot of Christians crash out when I do what's your best evidence hell is real. It's a pretty big crash out session. I am the universe's daddy. Don't worship me though. Just party, be gay, and do crime. Pseudo V Science, you are amazing. You are awesome. I'm so glad you joined the Discord, Pseudo V Science. So glad. So, what is your best evidence that God is just? Nobody's answered the question yet. Yeah, totally agree. And thank you for the shares, Durango Soul. Yeah, I got a feeling that this is going to be a pretty short conversation. Beast Boy's trying to rage bait. So, I don't think Beast Boy's been in my live before. So, this is going to be a pretty short crash out. I can sense it. Or maybe it might be a pleasant conversation, who knows, but all right, so if you are in the guest queue, please be at least 18. Please believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, and also have evidence ready that your best evidence that God is just. So here we go. Well, let's give it a shot. Let's see what Beast Boy has to say. How's it going?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm 25.
All right. Which God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ,
All right.
all the way.
And what's your best evidence that God is just?
Well, there's lots of evidence. It's kind of hard to choose from one.
Choose the best one.
I guess best evidence for God would be King David.
That God's just? How does King David demonstrate that God is just?
Because you know the Star of David, right? For Jewish people.
Okay.
All right. So why are they worshiping or phrasing this guy? Not worshiping, phrasing this guy, King David, with his star. Why is he such a big deal if, he didn't do something big in his lifetime, and what he did was take down Goliath, and that's why he became king.
Okay. I'm not seeing the connection to God being just.
To God being just?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on here, brother.
Okay.
Oh, yes. All right. So King David, as you know, he's very sinful man. Even though he was chosen by God, he was a very sinful man. But
Okay.
even then, God kept him safe. It demonstrates his love for sinners, and so that's why God is just.
God's just because he loves sinners?
Yeah, everybody's a sinner, and he repays everybody their dues. He rewards everybody for their works, whether you've done good works or bad works.
What's a sin?
Yeah. A sin is a transgression against the law of Moses, which was brought down by God to Moses.
Transgression of the law of Moses? Okay. And so if you follow the law of Moses, then you don't sin?
No, if you follow the law of Moses, you are always going to be a sinner if you go by the law of Moses, because knowledge of the law is knowledge of sin and evil. So that's why Jesus had to come in the flesh, because even though God gave these 10 commandments, you could say, to Moses, no human being could actually keep all of the commandments. They would break at least one. And if you break one, you break them all.
Okay.
Sin is sin.
That doesn't make sense. So why would God give laws that would cause people to sin?
Oh, because he said it when he gave them to Moses. He said it's only a shadow of the things to come. That's why Jesus is the fulfillment of the law. So the commandments were so God's chosen people, the Israelites, so they could be on their good behavior, so God could continue to bless them for their good conduct. But the Jews, obviously, lots of times they misbehaved, and God punished them for that.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that the laws of Moses are they are sins? I'm totally confused here. So
No, like if you try your best to keep your commandments, you're pretty much trying to live holy, trying to live good for God. If you
okay.
keep the commandments, you're pleasing God.
Do you
The only
sin if you keep the commandments?
you do simply because no human could keep all of them. Every human has a
Okay.
sinful nature.
So if you were to keep every single law properly, you would you or would you not sin?
You would always sin. There's no salvation from the law of
That's
Moses.
not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, if you were to keep every single law, would you or would you not sin? All 613.
It's just not possible to
Yeah,
do all
that's
that.
still not. So it's just so I'm not asking if it's possible. I'm asking if you could. Are you a sinner if you follow all 613 laws properly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, that's what I want to know. All right.
Okay.
So following the laws, the more you follow the laws, the less you sin. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. So all right. So what moral principle then makes it not a sin to sell your daughter?
Makes it not a sin to sell your daughter?
Yeah.
Well, God never approves of this, for one. The Bible never approves of selling of your daughters.
Well, I'll show you that in a minute, but what moral principle makes it not a sin?
If the family is poor, they try to marry off the daughter so they could gain a little bit wealth and survive.
Okay. So if the family is poor, if they sell their daughter into marriage, then that's not a sin?
I guess it would not. In
It
the
would
eyes
not
of
be?
guys, well, you're getting this question from the Old Testament, because nowhere in the New Testament does it say this.
Mhm.
So the Old Testament is God's old ways of dealing with human civilization.
Okay. So are you saying then that the old Mosaic laws are no longer in effect?
They are, believe it or not.
They are. Okay. So you still have to follow the old Mosaic law.
Oh no, I'm just talking about the original 10 commandments, not the other stuff about, like, for example, circumcision. Circumcision is not one of the 10 commandments. That Christians don't have to do that.
So where does it say in the Bible that you're supposed to only follow the 10 commandments and nothing else?
It's not necessarily that it says it. It's that if you look at each one of the 10 original commandments, first ones, they're like, without a doubt, it's all bad stuff. Like you know you're a bad person if you break one of these commandments.
Yeah. So I'm asking you where it says in the Bible that you only have to follow the 10 commandments.
No, I'm saying you don't have to follow the 10 commandments is not what gets you saved. What gets you saved is Jesus Christ. That's the good news.
Okay. So what I'm hearing though is that you don't have to follow any of the Mosaic law. You just have to believe in Jesus and then you'll be saved.
Hell yeah, that's the good news, brother. That's
Okay.
why it's called good news, but you have to actually believe from the heart.
All right. So why did Jesus say that everyone has to fulfill the law? And if you don't fulfill it, you're considered least in the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, I can answer that for you. So the fulfillment of the law is Jesus Christ. If you believe on Jesus Christ, you have eternal life. That means you're no longer under the Mosaic law, you're under grace, the New Testament.
Right. So you're saying then that how did Jesus fulfill the law?
Because he's the Word of God, so he's God, and the Word became flesh and he walked amongst us.
Which law is that? Which law is that?
No, it's not a law. I'm just explaining it to you right now, that he condemned sin in the flesh because he walked in the human body. And so once he was crucified, he defeated sin and death forever. So the punishment that Satan, the devil, and when he sees people breaking the 10 commandments, if they're lusting for one another or they're stealing from each other, disrespecting their parents, the devil has an excuse to go ahead and do some horrible stuff to you because he's finding you guilty. But he
Well,
can't find you guilty if you believe in Jesus Christ,
well,
because
wait a
Jesus
second.
Christ has freed you from the law.
Okay. Well, hold on. How does Jesus walking the earth fulfill the law?
Because I told you he's God. He was there since the beginning of time, since before the beginning of time. He always was. He always was there, God, the creator of all things.
Okay.
And so,
I'm still not clear on how that fulfills the law.
yeah, I'm explaining it to you. So he was always there, and then there came a point in time about 2,000 years ago where he was going to send his son Jesus Christ, which is himself. He is made flesh. He's walking amongst us. And the reason why he's walking amongst us is because no one could fulfill every law of the Mosaic law. Only Jesus could do this because he is God. Only he is perfect. So everybody else in the history of forever could never perfectly keep all the 10 commandments. Everybody sins besides God.
I still don't understand how that fulfills law.
How it fulfills law, because I told you, once he got crucified, he officially defeated the power of sin and death forever, but only for the ones that choose to believe on his name. Other than that, all the commandments, they still stand.
Okay. I'm not clear on what that has to do with the Mosaic law, though.
I'm trying to tell you that the Mosaic law is still in effect. For someone like you, an unbeliever, the devil could definitely at any point in time he could choose to mess with you. The only thing is that why he's probably not going to mess with you is because he already got you on his side. You already don't believe in Jesus.
Okay,
so he already got you right where he wants you. You're not a problem.
If I'm hearing you right, then we should be able to see this in Scripture, right?
You said what?
What you're saying, we should be able to verify this in Scripture, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so let's take a look at Matthew 5, verses 17 through 20. I got it up on my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to verify what you said. So it says here, do not think that I have come to abolish the law of the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. So now because it says here, because what you're saying is that you don't have to follow the Mosaic law, right? That's what you just said.
I don't have to, but it would be in my best interest as a good Christian to try my best
because,
to, keep.
Yeah, because if not following, wouldn't that be abolishing the law? Because it's clearly says
it's not
here,
abolishing. So, like, you see me, I believe in Jesus Christ, right? I'm saved. I'm no longer under the law. I'm under grace. If I continue lusting for women, like you said earlier, I'll go to heaven because that's the good news for the sinners. Heaven through Jesus Christ. But I will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. I will pretty much be like a bum, but at least I made it to heaven. That's the good news.
Got it. So, okay. So this is what I'm seeing here because, like, for example, like when we talk about a law, when you drive the speed limit, Beast Boy, are you abolishing the law or are you fulfilling the law?
When I drive above the speed limit?
When you drive the speed limit, are you abolishing the law or are you fulfilling the law?
I guess fulfilling the law, following the law.
Which means, so that's what Jesus is saying here. He's saying he's come to follow the law, not to abolish it, but to follow it.
No. Where did he say he came to follow the law?
You just said when you drive the speed limit, you follow the law, you fulfill it. And that's what it says here. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away. Now, has heaven and earth passed away yet?
It has not, but look.
Not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished, has all been accomplished.
Exactly. That's perfectly restating what I told you earlier.
No, look, has all been accomplished.
Look, I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. So he never abolished the Mosaic law. He fulfilled it.
Didn't you just say that fulfilling the law is following the law?
Yeah, but he's God, bro. He added a new commandment.
Why is it different for God? Why is fulfilling the law different for God and not for us?
Because he has no sin. He could actually follow the law completely.
Okay.
Us humans can't.
And why does that exempt you from following the law?
Like
just
I said,
because
that's
he doesn't have to.
That's the good, precious news of Jesus Christ.
Where does that say that here, though?
Huh?
Where does that say there's good news of Jesus Christ and all that other stuff you were saying? Where does that say here?
Right in line 1, brother. He came
Do not
not to
think I have
abolish,
come
but
to
to
abolish
fulfill.
to fulfill the law. Yeah, fulfill. And you
The
already
gospel, the,
acknowledged that fulfilling is following the law. So if Jesus specifically said, I came here to follow the law. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law
yeah,
until all
yeah.
is accomplished.
So he
So
followed,
that's what I'm trying to
he
ask you. What makes you think reading these two passages that you don't have to follow any of the Mosaic law?
no, so he followed the law, but in doing so, he defeats sin and death and Satan completely.
Where does that say that
That's
here?
why it's obviously not gonna say it right here. Let me read this whole verse. Hold
Yeah.
on. Therefore, whoever breaks one of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the king. Look, it says it right here, brother.
Yeah.
Even a sinner who breaks these commandments is still gonna make it to heaven because Jesus came to fulfill the law. He is the fulfillment of the law, brother. It's
Keep
right
reading.
there,
Keep
clear
reading
as
verse
day.
20. Keep reading verse 20.
All right. For I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom. All right, beautiful,
So,
beautiful
are
right
you
here.
saying that your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees?
Of course, brother, because the Pharisees did not believe Jesus Christ is God. They crucified him. They rejected him.
Did the Pharisees follow all the laws?
Yes.
They did.
Well, technically they would be lying because like I told you, it's
Okay,
not
so
possible
they
for a
didn't
human.
follow all the law. So
Okay,
that means that
yes,
your
they did.
righteousness must exceed that of the scribes and Pharisees to enter the kingdom of heaven. So
Yes.
if they didn't follow all of the laws, then, and you're not following any of them, how can you say that your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees?
Once again, that's the good, precious news of Jesus Christ. The gospel of Jesus is love in Jesus Christ. Salvation through Jesus Christ's blood.
Sure. So it says, for I tell you, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, is it righteous to follow all the laws?
It's not anymore.
It's
Never-
not, it's
Jesus-
not righteous to follow the laws.
Yeah, you'll never obtain righteousness for heaven through following the Mosaic law.
No, I'm asking you, is it righteous to follow all the laws?
Not in biblical scripture, no.
It's not in biblical scripture. It's not righteous to follow all the laws. So following God's laws is not righteous.
The one thing you have to do is the one thing you must do, and that is to believe in Jesus Christ. It's pretty simple, brother.
Okay. So what you're saying though is that you just have to believe in Jesus, but the righteousness isn't following God's commands. Just have to believe in Jesus.
Yeah, exactly right, brother. That's why it says they say Jesus came not for the righteous, but to call the sinners to repentance.
Okay. So is it so you're saying then that so if now God, you said God doesn't have to follow the laws, right?
God, no, God perfectly fulfilled every single law because
Okay.
he's God.
Is God's morality perfect?
Of course, absolutely.
Okay. And then so then we would find things in the Bible then that where God's morality is always perfect, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Is punishing people with grape perfect?
Oh, you gotta be patient with this question, brother, because usually the host always choose to drop the Christians because there's a good reason for everything.
I haven't dropped you. Yeah. You got 3 minutes left. I think you're going to make it to 20 minutes.
All right.
You haven't said anything out of pocket. So yeah, we're fine.
Look at it like this. You can look at it like this. Somebody, you're out by the plaza or something on a good day with your mom, and some crazy guy, he runs up to your mom and unalives your mom. Your mom's rushed to the hospital and she doesn't make it. Are you going in turn to defend the person who unalived your mom because you want to be morality for everybody?
No, I think that the person should get a fair trial and evidence be presented and all that stuff.
Fair trial for unaliving your mom with clear witnesses?
Everybody should have a fair trial. Everybody should.
You guys are seeing this, right? He's basically trying to defend the person who unalived his mom.
Yes. Yes,
All right,
I
all right.
am.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let's
No, no,
continue.
no, no. Everybody see this? Yes, I'm all for fair trials. Even if I witness somebody directly unaliving my mother, I'm still all for a fair trial. Yeah, absolutely. So Beast Boy, how about if the person is accused of committing a crime and didn't commit the crime? Would it be appropriate to have them graped?
No, but
Okay.
these people are guilty by association, just
Okay.
like
Guilty by association?
accessory accessory to a crime.
Okay. So what you're saying then is if a husband cheats on his wife, it's okay to grape his wife to punish the husband?
It just, I don't think it says this in scripture. I never heard of
Oh, it
that.
does. Yeah, it does. But we only have a minute left, but is that
All right.
is that appropriate?
Well, no, I could honestly say 100% God never approves of grape.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to get to it with a minute left, but it does say it in Second Samuel. So and we can probably get to it if people ask, people vote to keep you up. But what I'm trying to understand that, so if it did say that, is graping somebody appropriate? So is graping a wife appropriate for her husband's infidelity?
No, it's always a sin because it's sexual immorality, and that's always against God's nature.
Okay. So if God issues the judgment of graping a wife for the husband's infidelity, is it then perfect?
If I had a chance to argue with God about this, I would, and I gladly will once I get up there
Mm-hmm.
and give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah. What would you say?
Well, I would be like, why is this even possible that unbelievers could bring this kind of stuff up? And it's because they only bring it up because it actually happens. So I would be like, why, God?
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, that's a pretty pretty reasonable question to ask God, I think. All right, hang tight. Let's start the kick poll. So you guys know what to do. We have to do a kick poll for Beast Boy, and so for YouTube, it's just going to be a simple one. And I'm going to start that now. It's just keep the guest, yes or no. And then for TikTok, it's happy face to keep the guest or crying face to move on to the next guest. So poll starts for everybody now. So if everybody could vote, that would be great. And I'm just going to let it go until it's over for TikTok, and then I'll stop it on YouTube. So there's no countdown. So yeah, so you're familiar with the story of David and Bathsheba?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so there's a passage in there, and looks like you're not going to stick around, but I'll show it to folks before we go to the next guest. But yeah, it says in 2 Samuel chapter 12, God basically says, I will take your wives and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with them in broad daylight. And so if you're familiar with anything surrounding consent, it's pretty clear the wives did not give consent, which means they were raped. And then it happens. Then we see it come to pass in 2 Samuel chapter 16. So, well, Beast Boy, they did vote to move on to the next guest, but hey, I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, man. We could probably continue this combo another time. Thank you.
Have a good day. Take care. All right. Well, that didn't go at all like I expected. So that was actually pretty pleasant. So, yeah, that was a lot more pleasant than I thought it would be. Wow. YouTube, you are very consistent. It is consistently 89%. Very, very consistent. You and your damn consent. I know, man. Consent just kind of muddies everything up, huh? If it wasn't for that damn consent, huh? Yeah. All right. So if we go to 2 Samuel chapter 12, and we look at that, and yeah, Matthew 5, it's pretty clear. You got to follow all the laws. There is no exemption for believing in Jesus. It doesn't say it anywhere there. So if you look at 2 Samuel, if you start at verse 8, this is Nathan speaking for the prophet Nathan speaking for God, by the way. But it basically says, God says, I gave you your master's house and your master's wives. And there's no consent there, right? Because master's wives. So we don't see anything about the wives having any say in this. And also gave you Israel, house of Israel and Judah, and everything that came with it. And God's saying, you turned around and you did your thing with Bathsheba and then had her husband struck down. And if you skip to verse 11, it says, thus says the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor. Now, God isn't directly doing the graping, but he's doing the giving. And he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight, for you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and in broad daylight. So, no mention of the wives giving consent here. We don't see anything in that. So if we go to chapter 16, verses 20 through 25, it's pretty clear. Now, if we skip ahead, so 20, Absalom, who is David's son, if you skip, so what happens between 12 and 16 is that Absalom orchestrates a coup, chases David out of the palace, and David, in his bravery, leaves the wives there, runs away, leaves his wives there. So Absalom basically takes over the wives, right? And so Absalom goes to Ahithophel, who was David's main advisor, and says, hey, what should I do? And Ahithophel says, hey, you know what you should do? You should go into your dad's wives in front of all of Israel. So, and you skip ahead to 22, it says, so they pitched a tent for Absalom upon the roof, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of Israel. And this is from God, because now in those days, the counsel that Ahithophel gave was as if one consulted the oracle of God. So the counsel of Ahithophel was esteemed by both David and Absalom. So that tells you right there. It was as if. So Ahithophel speaking was as if Ahithophel consulted the oracle of God. So that's what this says. And it matches up with chapter 12, verses 8 through 12. God said this would happen. God said he was going to do this, and it happened. And nowhere do we see anything about the wives giving consent. And consent is pretty explicit. There is a 5-letter acronym for consent, and that is FRIES. So that is freely given, revocable, or reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. And we don't see anything here about the women freely giving consent. We don't see it being reversible, because it just is God, I'm giving you the wives. It's not informed. It's not enthusiastic and specific. So this is God here punishing David by having the wives raped by their stepson. And yeah, it's pretty horrific, if you ask me. Pretty horrific. So this is one of the reasons why I don't believe in this God, because that's pretty unbelievable that a God would do that. If this God existed, it's just beyond the realm of logic. God changed the wives' hearts, in quotes. Yep, I like that it says that it's in quotes. Judges 19 is always fun too. Yeah, Judges 19, yikes. So, Oracle's amazing. What are today's Oracle's at? Yeah. Now, you talking about the stock price for Oracle? Maybe. So that's pretty horrific. And if there's no situation, all you got to do is, if you're married and you're Christian, are you saying then that it's okay if your spouse cheats on you, that you be graped for punish your spouse? No, I'm not reading with the Spirit, JTP. You are absolutely right. Because I don't even know what spirit is. I don't think there's such thing. I don't believe in spirit. So nope, can't be reading with the Spirit. God can consent for the women. How so? This guy was a Catholic once. He's clearly knowledgeable, won't host knowledgeable Christians. Hey, I will bring up anybody who wants to talk. Anyone who wants to talk. So I don't shy away from anybody. Anyone who comes up in my guest queue, I will talk to them. Only exceptions are if I got to go, because life's more important than a live stream. And that's actually not true either. I've had JTP up a couple times. JTP is about as knowledgeable about the Bible as they come. So totally not true. So if you're in my guest queue, please be at least 18. Please be a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. And please also have evidence that your God is just. So I think we're going to switch it up just a little bit. Because, yeah, I've been beating this 2 Samuel passage, like, been beating that drum for a while. But it's such a good one. It's undefeated. It's such a good one. And don't be driving. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Yeah. It's just such a good one. It's just it's always rough. It's hard for people to get around. It's a great trap. So, but I got other ones. So, yeah, I think I'm going to switch it up. All right. Well, we're not going to be talking about 2 Samuel, so we're going to be talking about something else, Alex. So, have your evidence ready. All right, we're going to bring up Alex. How's it going?
Hi.
Hi. How old are you?
36.
All right. And which God do you believe in?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
All right. And what is your best evidence that God is just?
Because it's throughout the Bible.
It's throughout the Bible?
The only reason people look on the side of unjust is because it's the punishment of the sin of people. And they say, well, I don't agree with the way God dealt with them.
Mm-hmm.
But we see how God always restored the people and desired to have them restored.
Yeah.
But I actually got a whole answer for you for Samuel.
I'm not talking
Why?
about Samuel. I already said we're not going to talk about Samuel. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that God can do anything he wants to people if they sin?
Yes.
He can?
Correct. Yeah, to correct the actions and to leave an example for the people that might consider following the same actions.
Yeah. Now, are you familiar with the 5 pillars of justice? It's what just about every democratic justice system is based on.
Not exactly.
Okay. So, like for example, like the 5 historical pillars of justice, right? So there is it's got to be proportionate. That's one of them. I'm saying it kind of off the top of my head until I pull up the list here. It's got to be proportional. So the justice that's meted out has to fit the crime committed. And so that's one. It's got to be impartial. So there's equal treatment of all like cases. So there's no favoritism. So that's 2. The third one is agency and personal responsibility, meaning you're responsible for what you do, not for what someone else does. And then due process and non-arbitrariness. So that means handing out justice. It requires like a trial, presenting evidence, procedures, things like that. And then the other one is the prevention of unnecessary harm. So, like for example, would you consider it just if a 7-year-old child steals candy from a store to cut off their hand?
Okay, maybe it's not just, but if the law was there in advance saying if you're going to be stealing, this is going to be the consequence, then he pretty much did knowing the punishment and he accepted the punishment in advance, you can say, if he's caught.
Got it. And you're saying then that a 7-year-old child has that capacity to understand, don't steal or else you're going to cut your hand off?
This is where the parents come in and they're responsible to instruct the children that do not do this because this is the consequence.
Okay. And what if the child doesn't understand? Is it still appropriate to cut off their hand?
Well, in this case, this is where the consequence has to be dealt towards the parents to some degree.
So we cut
Why
the
is
parents'
the
hands
child-
off?
See, you're
If the
putting
child
a
does-
question on purpose to either way somebody has to be cut off.
Yeah,
What
it's
I'm
a trap.
saying is, even
because
today,
it
if your child
just exposes
does
that it's not
something
just.
Right. Even today, if your child does something extreme, the parents have consequences that they carry.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is it just if the parents explain to the child don't steal, and the child steals anyway, and the parents explain to the child, hey, you know, if you steal, I'm going to get my hand cut off. You might get your hand cut off. What you're saying then, it's just to cut the parents' hands off, despite they've done everything they can do to prevent this child from stealing, but this child steals anyway. You're saying
Okay,
that's
in that
you're saying
case,
that's just?
No. So in this case, if the parents explain to the child to the best they can, and he just disregards all of it, I mean, if the punishment doesn't follow, then everybody's gonna break it. That's gonna be the result at the end.
Okay.
So most of the cases they don't chop your hand off. You know, you just get a $200 fine, and that's what you leave with.
Got it. Okay. All right. So then, that being the case, so when we're talking about children, under what circumstances is it okay to unalive children for making fun of somebody?
I know you're going to the book about Elisha, but
So what
Right.
moral
Everything-
principle does that follow?
so these were not children. We read about them as young men,
Oh,
or
JTP, you ready to come up? How about? I saw the rabbi in here.
yeah,
We can
so-
debunk that very easily. I've got a Hebrew and Greek scholar in the chat. We can
So here's what I was
we
going
can
to
blow
say.
that out of the
He had
water.
right. So Elisha had a word from the Lord that he had to be there, and there is a group of people that are trying to
Children.
hold him back from going where he's instructed to go.
They were holding him back.
They were. The Bible says, yeah, they were going. They were calling him bald head.
They were just calling him bald head, but they weren't holding him back.
They
Doesn't
were.
say that.
This is technically a group of people that are trying to shame him and technically restrict him from entering. That was the case for sure.
Okay, so
So
it will
they're
clearly
following-
say that in 2 Kings. That's what I'm hearing.
This was the case, either you want to see or not. And yeah, as it was restricted, he just
All right. Okay.
called
Well.
for the bears. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at the restriction first. So we'll just tackle that one first. So
Okay. Also,
you see
real
my
quick,
screen?
Yeah, if you give me a chance, I actually have explanation for you in 2 Samuel about David and the consequence
Okay.
that you
Well,
probably
if
never
we have-
heard of.
if we have time, maybe. But
I have the
let's.
whole answer for it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go
it
to
was so
2 Kings.
strict.
Yeah, we're gonna go to 2 Kings here. So if there's time, we'll go back to Samuel. But for now, we're gonna go to 2 Kings. So first thing we're gonna handle, JTP, stay ready. First thing we're gonna handle is what I'd like to do is have you point out to me where the group, we'll just call it a group for now, where they held him back. Can you show me exactly which passage it says where they held him?
Okay, so it says, verse 23, some youth came from the city and mocked him and said to him, "Go up, bald head."
Go away,
Go
bald
up.
head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see where it says they held him back.
So it says he's going to the city,
Mhm.
but this group, so when they say go up, in other words, get out of here, bald head.
Okay.
Like, get out of here. We don't want you here.
Yeah.
So when people do this over and over, it obviously leads to almost like physical restriction.
Where
And
does
as they're holding him,
it say physical restriction? It doesn't say that here.
Well, this was okay. Let's just say it was started with words, and anybody that starts with word argument, if the other person does not, I guess you can say, hold him back, they always lead towards physical opposition all the time. And I've had this happen.
Okay, you're saying that always happens. So every time a group of people jeer somebody, they are going to put their hands on them. That's what you're saying?
If you're not willing to pretty much follow through with what they're trying to tell you, yeah.
Okay.
They will try to physically push you.
They're trying to
drag
physically push you
yeah,
away.
get
But
you out of it.
Okay. Now
Like, get away.
we have other instances in the Bible where people have been like pushed away and stuff like that, but that doesn't, and it specifically says that. I can probably pull up the passages for that, but so
Also,
it doesn't say that here.
Also, when do you tell someone to go away and then hold them?
So keep in mind, it says that they kept saying this, go away, bald head, go away, go away. So it's kind of a repetitive
So why would they hold
opposition.
him? So why would
Right.
they hold him if they want him to leave away from them? It's not in the
Either
text.
way,
You're
so look,
reading.
the
You're reading
problem
into
here
the
is
text.
these people are opposing
Children.
what God is doing.
They're
Yeah,
children.
And
they're opposing, but we don't see any. I think JTP's point and mine as well is we don't see them laying any hands on Elisha at all. They're just jeering him. That's all they're doing.
There's no contact in the text.
well, the reason we read it twice repeated that they're opposing him means that it was getting past just words.
Nope, that's not what that means at all.
Well,
You're making that up about the language of Hebrew. That's not true.
Yeah, this is a Hebrew scholar, by the way. This is JTP.
You're making this up, and to your point about it being the reason it says small boys in this translation is it's children, because a na'ar katon is the small version of a boy. It's a na'ar katon. It's a child, a boy child. It's the same way that Solomon refers to himself when he says, "I am only a little child. I don't know how to go out or to come in." He says, "I am a little child." It is the same construct. It is na'ar katon, which means a small boy. It is a child. These are children that are gathering. So none of this is working. You're reading an event into the text to justify the fact that this is just a wild story.
so there's actually estimates that there were most likely between 20 and 40 years old.
No, that's a na'ar, not a na'ar katon. You don't know the language, and you're going with apologists who also don't know the language or are just lying to you. Na'ar katon, katon means small. You don't refer to someone who is 20 as small as a small boy. You would call him a na'ar, a young man, but a na'ar katon means small.
Yeah, and they were maybe 13 at the absolute oldest.
We don't know. They're children.
We don't know, but we just know they're kids. Yeah, they're little kids.
So look at this.
And let's say they're 25. Let's say they're 25 years old. Is that okay to maul people with bears for making fun of you?
This was way more than them making fun
How
of him.
so? Go ahead.
Because they were restricting him. The Bible clearly tells us that
how were they restricting
Yeah,
him?
we already
Please point that out in
debunked
the
that.
text.
Yeah.
So
We already
I am
told you
telling
that.
you, look, first of all, it says that the bears killed 42 of the youth. 42
Of the
people.
boys. The boys.
Right. So this was a big crowd of people. This wasn't just, two boys came out to make fun of somebody being bald.
Okay,
This was like
so what did they do? They said, "Go away, bald head, go ahead, bald head," and that's literally it. He turned around and saw them. So they're not even close enough to him to be aware of them until he hears them. He turns around and sees them, and then he curses them. And then the she-bears come out and mauled 42 of the boys, the children. There is no contact. They're not surrounding him. He's not lost in a mob of people. He turns around, sees them, and curses them.
Right. So this is your view that they only
look
said
at
these
the
few
story.
words
Look
and they
at
got
the
killed.
This is all the scholars' view.
Look at the text.
Yeah, and we're just reading
Look
what
at the
it
text.
says.
I just read the text to you. They came out of the city, jeered at him, saying, "Go away, bald head, go away, bald head." When he turned around and saw them, He cursed them in the name of the Lord.
So they were
If someone
behind
is
him.
surrounding you,
Yeah.
do they see you? Do you have to turn around? No.
Okay, so here's another side to this. He never said, I want you all dead. It says he pronounced a curse upon them, which in my view, what he
Okay.
said is, whatever you deserve should come upon you. And this
Okay,
was
so we're going to make up
deserved
more
action
stuff.
is.
Okay, so we'll make up more stuff. And so what God thought was appropriate and just was to murder 42 boys. Schmurder, sorry, host.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So on that question, what moral principle justifies unaliving 42 children for jeering? What moral principle is that?
Well, see, this is where you might say one moral principle did Hitler have to unalive 6 million
Yeah.
when they said
No.
I'm
Jews.
sorry. Let's not pivot.
And
It's
he
it's
didn't
Schindler.
have a moral principle.
Yeah, he didn't
So
have a
you
moral
just
principle.
you just compared God to Schmittler, so good work. You
I
worked
didn't
against yourself.
compare.
You
Okay.
did.
What I'm showing you is there is outside of God, there is way more murder that happens. And there
Schmurder.
is
Okay.
yeah, there's way more unaliving happening. And
Okay, cool. Stay with the text and God, please.
Yeah. We're talking about God. So what moral principle justifies God schmurdering 42 children for making fun of one of his prophets?
it was definitely more than making fun of him. They just tried to mock
Okay.
him by his look.
I'm
but it
asking
was more
I'm
of a
asking what
mission.
the moral principle is.
Mock means make fun of. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Right, but it was more than just making fun. When there was a huge
How so?
crowd against one person, it
Yeah,
always leads.
we already covered this. We don't have
You-
I
there's
know,
nowhere in the
I
text that
know.
says
You
that.
keep trying to lead it to this like secret bar fight that happens in there. That's not what's going on.
Yeah,
They
it
are
wasn't
making fun
it
of
wasn't
him.
physical. It was just
They are making
words.
fun of him, and then they get mauled by bears.
Yeah. And so again, I ask you, Alex, what moral principle justifies unaliving 42 children for mocking a prophet?
I say this is the moral principle. If these people were to stay alive, they would have committed much more harm. If they were doing this, as you guys claiming, from a young age, what would become of them at an older age?
Okay. So are you saying then we should any small children that mock and make fun of people, we should unalive them because they're going to do things
No,
worse?
definitely not. I mean, we got a new commandment through Jesus Christ: is love
Sure.
those that even hate you, use you. So
Uh-huh.
we're called to
So when
completely-
kids act like kids, God's solution at one point was to just off them with bears.
I mean, that was definitely the solution. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Now, you
Okay.
would agree, Alex, that God's knowledge is eternal?
100%.
100%. So God has known for all of eternity that this, number one, this event would happen, and then number two, that Jesus' sacrifice would wipe all of this away. Right? You would agree with that?
You're talking about that even if they were mocking and disobeying God previously, they would still make it to
Yeah.
heaven because Jesus came?
That's not what I'm saying. I just need you to answer my question. You would agree, if God's knowledge is eternal, he knew all through eternity that this event would happen, number one, and number two, that Jesus would be sacrificed, correct?
Yes.
God knew this through all of eternity, right?
Yes.
So if God knew this through all of eternity, what makes it justified if he knew that Jesus was coming later to maul these children then? Why does the time matter?
Okay. See, it's the ways that you place the question is to, I guess, hold your point. But let's say like this: should Hitler been killed before he committed all those things?
Shitler.
Would that be positive?
Probably.
No.
But maybe
The
not.
other- the other
Yes,
brother-
no.
hey,
But here's
Right.
here's the point. And so what I'm asking you though is what justifies it?
So look, did you guys actually know about Hitler when he was 7 years
Hitler.
old? Okay, that man, the bad man, when he was 7 years old, he almost drowned, and it was actually a priest
Yep.
that saved him.
I remember talking about this in philosophy of ethics in
Right.
college. Yeah.
So the interesting thing
So-
is he was alive and he brought so much harm
Yeah.
later.
Okay, so what you're saying then is
The
that
case here is
any
if there was
child,
some-
okay, so that goes back to my original question. Any child who mocks people, we should unalive them because they might be the next Hitler.
This is where Jesus talks about the field with the wheat and the tares, where leave them alone and let God put everything in order.
Okay.
And this
And
is
so-
why many people do die young.
Okay.
Because of the things
Are-
they'll bring later on.
Remember
Oh,
remember the
wow.
5 pillars of justice that I brought up earlier? Proportionality.
Yeah.
Remember that? The severity of the punishment must match the severity of the wrongdoing. So is it so then what moral purpose or what moral principle then justifies unaliving somebody for future potential crimes?
Well, keep in mind, when I asked you about, the German man, you said he shouldn't have been alive. The other one said he should.
Yeah, sorry,
we're
I'm not
always
going to let
gonna
you
be-
pivot. I'm not going to let you pivot off this. So I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you what moral principle justifies unaliving somebody for potential future crimes?
Because the extraordinary evil they'll bring later, where people are even more gonna say, well, if God is real, why did he allow all these things?
Okay.
Isn't that
Right.
What moral
atheists try
principle
to
is
use?
that?
Can,
But every atheist has an argument against
All right,
God.
I'm
Well,
gonna,
if it's real,
sorry, I can't let you pivot off this. So we're not going to pivot off this until you answer the question. I just need the moral principle that justifies unaliving somebody for potential future crimes.
because the principle is they'll do much more evil as they increase in age and their wickedness.
Okay,
So
so
let's
then
off
we
all
should,
children.
we should unalive children who misbehave then.
But
we
we
should
have no
unalive
right
them.
because you don't know the heart,
So
you
you're
don't know the
pro-choice?
mind of the person, right? So
Um,
you will never be
Precisely.
able to determine.
Okay, so then why did God let these children live in the first place?
Because there is a
if-
chance for everybody has a chance to have the right moral.
Right. So that defeats your
Path, you can
argument,
say.
though,
Yeah.
because if they could grow up to be good, then God unaliving them with 2 she-bears when they're children prevents that possibility.
Yeah, because if God's knowledge is eternal and it's perfect, doesn't he already know that they're not going to be good adults growing up?
Right,
So
So this is
so
what
again,
it-
why let them live in the first place?
right. And I will say, so this is actually exactly the reason why we read about them, because now they are to us as an example of opposing God and the consequence of it.
That's crazy.
So they're left to us as an example now.
All right, hold that thought. We got to do a kick poll. JTP, you are a champion. Just got to say. Just
So I
gotta-
mean, if we run with this idea that God unalived kids because
keep
they were
talking.
gonna
I'm going to
be
do the poll.
awful,
Yeah, go ahead.
So if we run with that pivot, so God unalived these kids but didn't unalive Schmittler. He just let him grow up to be whatever he was.
Okay.
But
Y'all
these
know what to do,
kids had to
chat.
be stopped.
Well, you said that he should have stayed alive, so you technically support his actions. The other person said he shouldn't have been. So
No, I don't
here we
support his
have.
actions, but I don't believe in
know.
executing people preemptively.
So look, the answer
All
real
right, it's
quick.
up on
The answer
YouTube.
is this:
Go ahead, chat.
God left him to show you the consequence of a young person and what he was able to accomplish at a later age.
Oh, so okay, good. Oh, so those millions of people were collateral for an example that we needed to teach us. Got
No,
it.
but you got different examples throughout life that will show you
Oh, cool.
what becomes of an evil person from a young age
Yes,
and what
it's
they.
good. Yeah, so it's good. It's good to have a lot of people suffer so that we can learn things. I think that that's my favorite tactic to teach people things. Is just make people suffer so they learn. I think that's just right.
See, what I've noticed is most people on this chat are atheists, so they
I'm
don't want to
Christian.
hear.
Actually,
you're
he's
just giving me a
JTP
headache.
isn't.
You're
JTP
just
is
giving me a
Christian.
headache. So this is the problem: is that you actually make us look kind of bad here.
Well, hey,
Right.
Alex, they did vote to move on to the next guest, but I appreciate you coming up.
Yep,
Have a good day.
you too.
Yeah, that's just Second Kings undefeated.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
That is wild.
It's wild. But that's another one that's undefeated. It's hard. It's so hard to get around that. So hard. I
The
feel
only way
I feel for
is-
Christians.
The only way is if someone doesn't know Hebrew and they're like, no, it actually means a young man. Definitely one that you would think was okay with being unalived by bears.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just grant that it is a grown up. When
Yeah.
do we start unaliving grown-ups for making fun of people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and so if you go by that logic, there's at least a dozen Christians who've come to my live to make fun of me that, okay, well, we should just unalive them.
And
That
first
doesn't
of all,
make
like
any
always
sense.
pivoting to the Shoah, I think is not appropriate.
Mm,
But then the idea that we can preemptively punish people,
yeah.
right? Because the question was not, would you go back and do it knowing what he is? Of course. The question was, should he have been?
Yeah, exactly. Should
And
he
it's
have been?
like,
Yeah.
no, because no one knew at the time. So
Yeah.
you can't do that to people.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, yeah, you can express regret, but then regret implies lack of knowledge, because if you had known at the
Right.
time, you would have made a different decision. That's what a regret is, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so then that means that yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I said yes. You know, like should the priest have saved Schittler when Schittler was 7 drowning? Well, no, knowing what we know now. But at the time he didn't know. Of course. He should. Yeah. So it's a yes and no. But yeah. Fantastic team up. It's good to see you, by the way, friend. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, it's great to see you. Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
All
thanks
right.
for bringing me up and speaking so
Absolutely. Well, you sticking around for a bit?
highly. I can, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm going to drop you down, but if another guest comes up with more biblical
Oh, yeah, you can.
nonsense, yeah, I'd love to bring it back up. But everybody, before JTP goes, please follow JTP, number one. JTP has fantastic stuff on deconstruction and very knowledgeable of the Bible. And also, if you have any gifts for JTP, please send them JTP's way, because absolutely is a
Well, you're very kind. I
yeah,
appreciate you.
is a very upstanding person. So yeah, very fantastic creator and upstanding human being. So, okay, well, all right. Are we finished giving him gifts or any more? Oh, wait, we see more roses coming in. We'll wait.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you, Elizabeth,
but-
and everybody else.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's just between this one, and I almost wanted to see like what he would say about 2 Samuel, that, because I mean,
Part of me does, but that gets really heavy after a while
It
when
does.
you realize that there is a line, that there's actually no line that could be crossed that
Exactly.
would cause them to, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it does. It does
yeah,
get
so
heavy.
it kind of wears on the soul a little bit.
It does a little bit. Yeah,
Anyway,
it
but
does.
thanks, man. You're doing great.
You got it, man. All right. See you around, JTP. All right. So maybe we can do more, stuff around that, but yeah, that was rough. Okay. So go to our next guest. So, I see a returning guest, so that's great, but I do prioritize first timers. So if you've entered my chat, guest queue, please be at least 18, a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. And also please have evidence that God is just. So we'll move on to the next one. That would be Snowboy. How's it going,
Hi.
Snowboy?
Good, thank you.
Good, good. Glad to hear. And thanks for waiting. So how old are you?
I'm 18. I turned 18 November.
Oh, happy birthday. Congrats to you.
Thank you.
All right. And which God do you believe in?
I am a Christian. I believe in the Christian God.
And what's your best evidence that this God is just?
Well, I wanted to focus more on the fact that there is a God, that God exists.
That God exists? Yeah. Okay. But I'm looking for evidence that God is just. Do you have any evidence?
Just.
Yeah.
About that? No.
Okay. Well, hey, when you do, come on back and we can talk about it, but that's what I want to talk about. All right. So have a good one.
See ya.
All right. So yeah, that's the topic. What's your best evidence that God is just? All right. So again, if you're in the guest queue, please have that evidence ready. Yeah, they always want to change the topic because it's not a comfortable topic to talk about. All right. Let's go to the next one. Nope. That one dropped too. Yep. So it's like it's Noah Lloyd by attrition, but we have a returning guest, Noah Lloyd. So, hey Noah, it's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year. How
Yeah,
have you been?
doing well. Doing well. Really busy, but doing well. So, how about you?
Same.
Well, good.
Same.
Good.
Yeah, and yeah, I just want to come up here because I saw you were in the previous conversation. You were talking about the Bears
Mm-hmm.
and all that. Yeah, I believe we talked about that before.
We did. Yeah,
Uh,
we
you were
did talk
yelling,
about it
yeah.
before. Yeah.
And I just wanted to I wanted to bring forward some issues that I have with the interpretation that's been going around of what it means.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is JTP still here? Because we have a scholar.
I hope
at the
he is
ready.
because he seemed very knowledgeable.
Oh, extremely knowledgeable. Yeah,
Yeah.
extremely. So, JTP, if you're still here, just poke your head in the chat and just kind of raise your hand. But yeah, and I think we did a pretty deep dive last time on it. So, well, I guess we'll get it started, and if he's here, he's here. But yeah, what did you have in your mind?
Okay, well, I mean, there's several different directions I can go with it, but
Mhm.
what is the exact verse again? I forget the numbers.
It's 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 23 through 25.
Okay,
So here, I'll bring it up on screen.
all right.
And it should still be, fresh from the last conversation. Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, yeah, and I mainly want to talk about this interpretation of this being, what was there, 8-year-olds? That these are 8-year-olds?
Children, yeah. And here's JTP
Children.
right here.
Oh, hello.
Hey there.
Yeah, look, because I just want to figure this stuff out. I'm just very curious, and I want
Sure.
to
Great.
If I can help
understand
out.
this. Yeah, but when it comes to this interpretation of it being these, small boys, as this interpretation says, when I contemplated historically, I don't know how much justification that interpretation has, because when thinking on the context of this instance, if I remember correctly, it's happening near or outside a sort of center of idolatry in the what would you say, the Israelite world. And when you take that into account, just and I think about the idea of, what is it, 42 or 40 something,
42.
children going around in just a large group. I just don't see how that's
It's
consistent
not.
with history. I just can't fare that.
No, I don't think that history is really the. Well, shit. I probably shouldn't just jump right into what I think.
It's fine.
I don't think history is really the objective of the story.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
So
I agree.
What you're dealing with, the story makes sense contextually, at least as far as what message the author seems to be trying to convey.
Correct.
Which is that you have these kids and they're yelling, "Go away, bald head." And bald head here is a pretty specific insult being leveraged, because Elisha's predecessor was someone with a long mane of hair conventionally, and the idea was that he's not going to measure up to his predecessor. And this is God basically kind of saying, oh yeah, he is. And this is a sort of an affirmation of Elisha's authority. And that authority is something that is, given from God to the prophet, not something that has to make sense according to human standards. But yeah, I mean, I would say if we were thinking that this was a historically accurate text designed to be historically accurate in the way that we think of it, then yeah, you can ask the questions of why are these kids all just running around by themselves? But I think that makes it humorous. The same way in the New Testament, when you're reading a parable about a guy that goes and destroys a city because people didn't come to his kid's wedding.
Yeah. If I could jump
Um,
in, if just to interject something very briefly, I when I was a believer, I saw this particular story in a way in the same like lens as like Grimm's fairy tales or like Hansel and Gretel. Because Hansel and Gretel, they met a pretty horrific demise, right? I mean, you know, they became a witch's meal, and and so if you look at it from that, and there's always like a moral to the story, right? And so when I looked at it from that lens, it makes a lot more sense. And so when I'm bringing these up to Christians, I'm talking to the Christians who actually believe this happened, like really, really happened. And and so also though, it does, so for the times, yes, this is exactly what JTP is saying. Is it's putting out a moral for the story, like a lesson, right? Like it's an allegory. It's a pretty horrific allegory, but nonetheless, I think
It's a brutal one.
yeah, it's a brutal one. It's horrible. It's
yeah,
terrible.
and it's a brutal world. I mean,
Mhm.
this is a different. Odds are, you probably had people thinking the story was funny.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's designed for a modern audience to look at it and be like,
Right.
oh yeah, that makes sense, because then we have to sit up here and and kind of wrestle our way through it. But I don't think that what we're dealing with here, even in the quote historical texts of the Bible, their concept of history really lined up more with storytelling. It wasn't the same thing that like you and I, like all of us come from post-enlightenment views of scholarship, which is that historical accuracy has to do with like your accurate reporting, right? And this just isn't the way that ancient people wrote a lot of the time. They were proud of their scribal traditions and adding flourishes and conveying meaning through story. It's why I'm still religious, is I enjoy wrestling with storytelling as a way of making meaning out of things.
Mm.
So that would be just my reaction to it. Now, from a historical perspective, yeah, odds are, I mean, I hope there weren't 42 just feral kids out and about doing whatever, but I think that they needed to be for the purposes of the story. Similarly, there are texts that shouldn't mention Philistines because Philistines didn't exist when those texts were written, but they needed somebody to plug in that would make sense for the audience that's receiving the text.
I don't know,
So
because like my own personal issue with that is that I feel like this has to be at least believable to the people of the times of this. And so when they hear something that is very like out of line, just sort of casually about daily experience, I think that it puts it more towards an unbelievability, and because of that unbelievability, it'll be less likely to be passed down.
Can I ask why you feel that they are worried about accuracy the way that we are?
Well, it's more about like, I don't know, just being like taken out of it, because like it's like, you're watching a movie and suddenly, a bunch of gorillas enter the scene and then leave, and it's like it's
Okay.
so something
So
like odd goes on. It's like it distracts from the actual like message, and I
Okay.
don't think that the big okay. Well, you can respond to that if you want.
Oh no. I'm just saying Genesis 2 has a talk like Genesis 3 has a talking snake.
I mean, yeah,
So
but
that doesn't match anyone's experience, but they definitely passed along the story and utilized it to make meaning. I don't think that these sorts of details are going to stop it from being an impactful text. I mean, even today, the Jewish people use these texts, and a lot of them don't care if Moses existed or not. And many of them go with the archaeological and historical consensus of probably not. So I don't think that accuracy was quite what they were concerned with so much as a meaning, which is what you get from storytelling cultures. So I just don't know. Like there are a lot of just straight up outlandish stories that don't make any sense, but it doesn't stop the communities from using them and passing them on. So I don't know why we would think that the people that generate these types of stories would be concerned the way we are for
well, I think for this instance in particular, it is much more closer to the daily life of people who would, receive this story immediately and pass it down to generations going on. So I'm just sort of wondering, like, because you talked about the talking snake in the garden. It's like, yes, that's true, but that happens in a place and time that is far removed from the common place and time in which these stories would be most likely written and passed down consistently. So I
Well, I mean,
just,
the stories of Genesis would have been composed similarly in time for the audience that would have been composed for Kings. Like, of course, it's set far and away, but also, I mean, when you look at this story, is your focus on the kids in terms of the plausibility of the reality of this situation? Or when you come away from this story, are you focused on the identity of Elisha, who the book continues to talk about?
well, I
So,
think
like,
that, well, like, I think the intended takeaway is to focus on Elijah if we're focusing on a storytelling perspective, you know,
right.
and his like legitimacy.
Because the only reason this question of the small kids being by themselves gets asked is because it's pointed out that the story is problematic for modern audiences. The simple answer would be it wasn't problematic for ancient audiences, but the apologetic side of it is where now we start wondering about these kids being by themselves, and that doesn't make sense. So they must have been teenagers or young men or whatever. But it's the idea is that interpretation comes with the goal of making the story more palatable. My goal is simply looking at this story and saying, okay, what are we trying to get out of this? Like, yes, I can say that there's moral issues with this, but me judging the past like that is not super helpful. They had their views and the way that they did things, and that's just the reality of it. So I don't know why it can't just be a story that's kind of nasty and brutal, but serves a purpose within the broader corpus because that's what the authors intended it to do. I don't know why we have to try to make it a story that we're okay with.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's the other tension point is, why does it have to be okay?
well, okay, that touches on some things that kind of deviates from this.
A little bit,
But,
yeah.
It always does. I'm sorry. I do that. That's a me problem. Sorry.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point out, just like from what I see in the scriptures, what's going on is that we start with a very, what would you say? It's very symbolic. It's very like, it's not, it doesn't have a lot of concreteness to it. But it's very odd in that way. But then as but as it continues on, it starts to concrete into something that is more identical to human life as it's lived.
It's totally an oh by the way story. I mean, and then he just went on to Samaria like nothing ever happened. Like it's a total like you could take out that entire those two verses and just 23 and 24, and it can just go straight to he just went on to Samaria, and it wouldn't change anything about 2 Kings and Elisha and what Elisha did.
I want to check real quick. I want to see what the status is as far as like what literary layer we think this belongs to. Like obviously like Yahwist, but I want to. So just give me a second.
Yeah. Take your time.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna take a look real quick.
Yeah, take your time. So yeah, I mean that would be from my perspective. Like for you, Noah, like because I think you're coming in from like a historical angle. Am I hearing that right?
That was one angle I wanted to come at that. My
Okay.
I stuck on that, but yeah.
What would you say then would be like if this little, just those two verses, 23 and 24, were just completely taken out? What would change historically about Elisha in your estimation?
Well, no, I haven't viewed this particular passage in its full context. I guess once I get around to reading it all, then it'll become more obvious to me. But I think that once you take out these two verses, I think you do lose a degree of legitimacy him being an actual like prophet, or like
Really?
an example of like of him being the the prophet.
Okay. So there has, because it does say in the, from one way you can look at it, there was a demonstration. It was a demonstration of power. I mean, that's if you read the annotated, like the Oxford annotated, that's what it says. It says it's a demonstration of God's power. The demonstration that Elisha is not one to be messed with.
Yeah, it's a demonstration of seriousness of what's going on.
Yeah, demonstration of seriousness.
It's not supposed to be taken lightly.
I'm trying to understand though, because if you read the rest of 2 Kings, it doesn't really, it just doesn't, like, it doesn't take anything away from whatever else happened, after that. Like anything Elisha did, it didn't take anything away from that. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, why does it need to be in there?
Yeah, I'm not, and personally, I'm not trying to, we got what we got. I'm not trying to like be like, well, we could take this out. I'm not trying to do that.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, if you did, like, does it materially change this, like the trajectory of Elisha for you when you read the rest of it? Like, are you saying, well, since if I look at it and he didn't maul those 42 kids mauled, then yeah, he's just not as much of a prophet as I thought he was.
Well, there's a lot of things to go in here, but I want to because I myself have not in detail gone through the context of this passage, so I kind of want to defer to ignorance here.
That's fair.
I mean, you've got a rabbi here. She would be much more helpful than I am, but I didn't find anything about, I don't think there's an assumption that this is any kind of interpolation or insertion. But what I did note that I completely forgot about is that 42 also is a number that can symbolize death pretty regularly. Unalivement.
Hold on. I think Rabbi Hannah has something to, she's like saying this over and over in chat. Yeah. Deuteronomistic. Hey, Rabbi, how are you? Happy New Year.
So, Happy New Year. I'm doing okay. So we don't really look at 2 Kings through the Pentateuch, like a hypothesis, like Yahweh's versus. Yes, sorry. Go to my office. I hurt my leg, so I have my leg up, and my daughter's like, "Go to your office if you're going to talk." Okay. So we don't really look at 2 Kings through that. We're looking at it through the Deuteronomistic history.
Deuteronomistic literature.
Yes. Yeah. So that is who we're looking at, the redaction of the Deuteronomist who wrote through this, not through the documentary hypothesis like Yahweh's versus Priestley, etc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if because the way that Trust was describing it, I was like, oh crap. I was like, is this one of those like random stories that gets put in? But after looking through it, it doesn't seem like it. It goes in the frame of like demonstrations.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to imply that it was just randomly inserted. I didn't mean that.
That's why I went to look. I was
like,
wait a minute.
Yeah, I didn't mean.
Oh no.
No,
that
it's
exists.
Not an interpolation. Yeah, and the documentary hypothesis is about the Pentateuch, not the writings or the prophets. That's where the Deuteronomist comes in.
I simply meant that because it seems random. I guess maybe that's the better way to put it. Like, because like you could just. I mean, honestly, yeah, you could just take the story out and then it doesn't really, that's what I was arguing, is that it doesn't really change anything after that,
right? What's a fun story without 42 dead children?
Oh, the 42. Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
The reason it's here is because it's supposed to show that Elisha now has the prophetic power that was originally this person before him.
Right.
That's really, it's only there for that. The story is there to be like, see, now God favors this guy.
Mm-hmm.
God has now got his back because the other one is gone.
Wouldn't you say we see that like elsewhere, like afterwards though?
I mean,
it's hinted
later on.
Yeah.
It's hinted, but this is the first very hey.
This is the assertion.
This guy has
taken, I see what you mean.
The assertion of, hey, this is now the guy who has the prophetic power, has the ability, and unfortunately, it is boys. I believe in the Hebrew it uses Yeled, which is boy.
Oh, I thought it was Na'ar-Katon.
Let me check. I'll have to actually take a look.
Or it uses Katon. All right, let's see. Pull up that Hebrew.
I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to give me a second while I pull up my computer.
Okay.
And I apologize.
Mental note: I got to make a Hebrew screen and a Greek screen.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah, this is good stuff. We're digging in.
Yeah, so 42, I think the Noab is the one that talks about that 42, I think Jephthah, somebody like that, executes 42 people. There's,
I'll mute while I
like,
pull it up.
the numbers are largely symbolic to
Cynthia.
try to like get a point across.
Yeah.
Like the feeding of the 5,000, it's like you don't really have to picture 5,000, but like this is a big group of people.
Mm-hmm.
144,000. Well, that's a bunch of really righteous people.
Mm-hmm.
12 by 12, and then some. Cedar says scholars in quotes, because Rabbi and I don't like to describe ourselves as scholars, because imposter syndrome. But yeah, it fits with the demonstration of the dangers of disrespecting a prophet of God, I think, is the note from the Noab. The SBL just skips it and is like, some demonstrations of God's power. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Bring it back here. Talk about the problem with this.
Yeah. Right. And so that's what I always learned. That's what it was. It was just a demonstration of God's power, and that Elisha was not one to be fucked with. Like, that's essentially
Well,
what
that's
you're
what the
supposed to
she
get.
bears are all about as well. She bears being very protective of their cubs.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
And it's a level of fierceness that's assigned to this. So not only were they mauled by bears, they were mauled by the like worst kind of bear that you would want to deal with, which would be, a she bear
Mama
deprived of her
bear.
cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So they go ham on this little passage here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Na'ar Katon. If I'm gonna have to eat my hat.
I thought it was Nakatone too. I could never pronounce it, but I mean, hey, learn something new.
I'm looking at it right now. Give me just a sec.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, no, take your time. Hurry up though.
Yeah. Far be it from me to question, to argue that, but I always thought that's what it was.
I'll argue it anyway, even if it's not Na'ar Katon. I'm going to argue that it is, just so Rabbi can
No,
have a
it's
reason to.
Na'arim. They're using Na'arim.
Na'arim.
Na'arim. Okay. Well, that's the plural, right? Na'arim. Is Katon? Because Katon's included there, right?
Yeah, isn't there a
small
modifier? Yeah, that's what I always thought.
I'm looking at it right now. I don't see the Katon.
We're feeding you the answer we want, Rabbi.
Yeah, no, we are. We're trying so hard.
Yeah, I don't see the
I thought so.
here.
Well,
I
then-
see Ole Berke un Arim Ketaim Yatse un Minharet.
Then how do we? Okay, so then what's the modifier that indicates that it's small boys? Because that was the thing that I always thought was there.
Is that the Kataim though?
Yeah,
Is that the small?
so that's the thing, is it means youth or young person. It does not automatically mean little children. It can refer to a wide range of
it
ages,
can,
child,
yeah.
teenager, or young man. Yeah.
Yeah, it can.
Oh, okay.
Because don't they say use that same root word to?
Oh, I see. You guys are saying it weird.
Yeah.
It's Ketaim.
Yeah, we're just fucking it up. That's we're fucking up
Okay,
the
I was like,
pronunciation.
I'm not seeing something
Ketaim.
called Ketone here.
Ketaim. Yeah,
Um,
that's what it is.
Yeah, so it comes from Katan. Yeah, small in age, small in size.
That's what it was. There was a
Yeah,
modifier
yeah,
there. I
like
knew
a
it. Okay.
smallie. Someone.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
so,
like, I swear, I'm saying, I was like,
You know what it's
I mean, I
like?
will-
You know what it's like
I will
if you go to
immediately apologize.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I will
Me too.
immediately
I
apologize.
know I'm butchering the pronunciation. It's like when you go to Paris and you say, can I have a croissant? And they're like, what? I don't know what you're get. What's that?
It's
Oh, you mean a
Ketan-
croissant? Oh, that.
Ketanim.
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 does that in any way indicate a specific age?
Just
Or
means small in age. It comes
Small
from
in age.
Katan, which means small in age, small in size. Can also mean small in stature, like your stature, your status socially. Can mean you're insignificant.
25-year-old midgets. That's what
So
happened.
that's not the word. You can't say that word.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
We can't
sorry,
say that.
small
You have to say
people.
little
I'm
people.
sorry.
Yeah.
I forget.
Oh my
I'm sorry.
gosh.
25.
millennial.
Yeah. Can't say the M
So,
word. Little people.
So in
Apologies.
this instance, the use of the word in front of it, the na'arim, means that it is trying to say young lads or youths or small boys.
Yeah. So small youths, small boys.
Is it the same construction though? 'Cause I really want to make sure I didn't just make a bunch of things up now. It's the same construction used for, I mean, not in plural, obviously, but that's put together for Solomon when he prays that he's only a little child.
I believe so. I'd have to actually look.
Uh,
You know how it is. I have to look at things.
no, it's good. You should. You should.
Yeah, you should. But
Be nice if you just agreed with me every once in a while. That would be good. That sounds good.
I agree with you that it would be nice if I would agree with you once in a while.
I hear and respect that is your desire. Yes.
yeah. Oh, and by the way,
Let me-
everybody give Rabbi Hannah some love, some flowers, some follows, some W's.
She is incredible.
She
There's
is
not a better resource
amazing.
up here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now
So,
they come from the same word family, though. So because in Solomon, you're talking about 1 Kings 3:7.
Yeah, his prayer for wisdom.
I am but a young Ne'ar. So he is saying Ne'ar Katan. So it comes from the same base word as the Ne'arim, but it is meaning not yet an elder or not yet like socially authoritative.
Oh, I thought he was being self-deprecating, calling himself a child.
No, I mean it does not mean little boy in a fixed way. It kind of means like often it means somebody who is under someone else's authority. Sometimes it does mean literally young, but I believe here that Solomon is trying to say that I am but a young Ne'ar, meaning I am not yet an elder.
Ah, okay.
okay.
All
That
right,
makes
well, I'm going to
sense.
ignore that because my way works better for my.
Of course.
approach.
I mean, your worldview, man.
As
It's
a
your world, we're just
Christian,
living
I
it.
respectfully ignore the wisdom that you've imparted.
That wouldn't be the
Just
first time.
another day
It
for
wouldn't be
me.
the first time a Christian did that.
In
that
favor
much.
of my worldview, yes, thank you.
Exactly.
So I don't know if that helps, but yeah,
It
the
does.
word verbiage
Oh, it
there
totally does.
does mean young men or young boys.
Young boys.
So
Okay.
and to me, whenever I've read this is the kind of the first instance where we're seeing, hey, this is the guy now who has the authority and the prophets.
Mhm.
He is now the main prophet of God.
Yeah.
Got that mantle, bruh.
So this is just to drag it back all into what my point was all about. It's like, because I can see that there's some sort of like ambiguity going on here with the youth term. And so like, I think when we reach that, we have to view things from a different angle in order to get a more accurate picture. And that's why I'm leaning towards the historical. It's like, what would we realistically see at this place in time? And I think we would more realistically see like a wandering band of young men rather than young children, just from my estimation.
Historically, we wouldn't see this at all.
Yeah.
Meaning the
Because
cursing of, yeah.
I mean, historically, we wouldn't see 42 young boys being eaten by bears. It is meant to be a narrative to show the power, and it is of this prophet. That's really it. It is designed to say, hey, this is the guy now. But historically, we wouldn't have seen 42 young boys eaten by 2 bears.
So we could say historically, this likely did not happen.
The kid to bear
yes.
ratio is all off. How
Yeah.
many bears would you say? it
2
would
cares.
take?
And then but then if you think it, you flesh it out, like, okay, so were the kids all standing like all in the same spot, and then the bears just came in and just
Exactly.
wiped them out, or did they have to chase them around town a little bit? You know?
I
Yeah,
figure.
so this is more likely, this is from the, post-exilic edition, like, so 6th century BCE, we're
Yeah.
talking about the DTR2. So this is the exilic part of Kings, where it is, trying to show how are we rebuilding ourselves in a post-exilic, post-Babylonian exile
Mhm.
world.
And this is Deuteronomistic, right? So it's going to be
Yeah.
concerned with centralizing Adonai worship and the prophets of Adonai being superior in a more pronounced way. Is that
Yes,
would that
because
be
we're
accurate?
they're trying to consolidate the fact that here's Elisha. Elisha is now taking over for Elijah, and Elijah has to go away, and we have to show Elisha now has that same kind of thing. So Elisha material comes from the older prophetic legend collections, probably the Northern Israelite collections in origin, and then is later woven into the Deuteronomistic framework. I said it right, yay.
Yay.
So the layers kind of look like this. You have the pre-Deuteronomistic prophetic tale, like local Elisha legends circulating orally or like written in small collections. Then you have the redaction, where it is shaped to reinforce like that obedience to the prophet, the blessing and curse theology, and the continuity from Elijah to Elisha.
Fair. Hey, keep talking. I have to go to the restroom real quick, so just go ahead and keep talking. I'll be right back.
How dare.
And
How
and all
dare
of this
you.
points to Jesus, correct?
No. Because I know what would happen, JTP, and not because Trust but Verify would do it, but somebody would record you saying, and all of this points to Jesus, and I would say sarcastically, oh, sure, and somebody would then go around and say, Rabbi Hana said it does point to Jesus.
Clipped it. Cedar says, actually, if we look at the Psalms, get the Buddhist out of the chat. Get the Buddhist out of the chat.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
This is all very informative. I'd like to thank you both for entertaining me on
Oh,
this.
sure, no. Thank you for engaging. This is the good stuff.
Oh, I love doing this. This is the whole reason why I do this job.
And thank you for not advocating for the unalivement of children.
Well, we haven't
think-
got that far yet. No, I'm kidding.
It seems like I mean, I get it, some kids, but it's just, but yeah, it's, it's a difficult, I mean, fundamentally, I think it's more,
Well, it just feels very in line with the rest of a lot of the Old Testament,
Yeah.
which has this brutality to it that I think
it's
is just
brutal, but there's also a kind of morbid, I don't want to say comedy. You can tell they're at home in the world in which they live, which you of course would expect, but I think sometimes we forget that that's what that would look like, that what we find off-putting or grotesque or problematic, and we should find problematic to some degree. Like for them, the whole reason it was written is because it wasn't, and it expressed something that they understood. And I think if we can keep that kind of in view, I think that would be, I think it's beneficial. But because I'm one of those people with the imagination where I picture what I'm reading, and and I'm never sure what this looks. She bears for a crowd of 42 that I know as a kid, like our instinct was scatter whenever something went wrong. So it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. All right. Where'd we leave off? What'd I miss?
Rabbi was saying that this is, part of the corpus in the Hebrew Bible that predicts Jesus. So I was hoping she would go more into that.
You're a Meshuggah, you know that?
It's a term of endearment. Nobody worry.
Yeah, no, Meshuggah actually is. I didn't call him a schmuck.
I know.
Meshuggah just means like silly.
Yes, I am that. In spades.
Yeah, so the way that I would look at the verses would be like, first you got 22, so the waters were healed to this day according to the word of Elisha that he spoke. That's a seal formula. So to me, it's not there to move the plot forward. It's there to confirm authority. The story is saying Elisha's word is not temporary magic. It's now able to reshape reality. That's classic prophetic legitimation, like to legitimize someone's status. That's the language being used. And then the go mocking him with the, bald head. That's what it says, right? Go up, go up, bald head. Is an escalation. It's not casual teasing. It's a narrative choice that matters. Location is not neutral. Bethel is a contested cult site. Right. The movement, echoes Elijah's ascension just earlier in the chapter. He went up. The taunt go up is not random. It's mocking prophetic succession here, or it could be seen as mocking prophetic succession here. And then the Na'arim Katanim are not toddlers. They're youths, possibly of low status and possibly like a street gang of some sort or a street group. And in the ancient world, the public insult equals an honor challenge. Hey, I'm saying this, like, I slap you with my glove and now we're going to duel. And then the action is supposed to be public derision, not one voice, but a group act. And so it's a symbolic confrontation to show the prophetic authority and local resistance, and then what prophetic authority can do.
Yeah.
But I hope nobody thinks that this actually happened.
A lot of Christians do. A lot of Christians believe this actually happened.
Well, you also run into a lot that think it should have happened.
It should have happened, or it was okay that it happened. Yeah.
So we earlier had someone, I'm hoping maybe it was like a language barrier issue or something, but sort of arguing for the preemptive execution of troublemakers.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is that these boys, that
which Noah did not do, by the way. That was somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Noah did not do that. Yeah. So
not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I think that you guys, and I appreciate, I think what you're doing is you are being very clear that it's not saying that God mauls children for teasing or baldness is shameful, because it's not a literal ethics manual. It's a symbolic legend using extreme imagery, like to make a point about authority and covenant.
Correct.
But I do think there are people who probably take it literally.
Yeah, they take it literally, A, and then B is, is just to say, look, yeah, this is horrible. And it's the folks who can't say it's horrible. That's the ones.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, there is an element of this was what God saw fit to do in response to this sort of, because the challenge that I think, Trust offers a lot is God just? And does this passage in particular make God appear to be just?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely not. I would say God is conditionally just, if that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I go after the ones who say all just. That anything he does is just. Anything he does is good. Anything he does is loving. Not. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's an impossible.
Somebody said spiritual mauling in the chat.
Yeah, spiritual mauling. Yeah, no.
That's what Christians do when they say I'll pray for you, when they mean I hope you change your mind or whatever. That's spiritual mauling.
That's spiritual mauling. Exactly. No, thank you. Exactly. Well, hey, Noah, I did let you stay up here, like past the kick poles and all that, because there's nobody in the queue, but there is somebody in the queue now. So do you have anything else? I'll if not, I'll just send you down and we'll move on.
I mean, I guess we settled one angle of it. I could come up another time and we can talk more about it.
Okay. Yeah. Hold that, because I always love it when you come up. So. But we'll give others a chance.
Thank you for having me as well, you guys. It's always a pleasure to help out when I can.
Of course. So one last opportunity to give Rabbi some gifts and W's and follows and all that stuff. So make sure you guys are all doing that on her way out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, hey, thank you too, Noah. And same with Noah. Noah's also a great guest. So follows, likes, W's, all that stuff. So thanks again, Noah.
Yeah, nice talking.
We'll talk to you again. All right. See ya.
Take care, Noah.
All right. You know what? Maybe JTP, stick around for a bit. Maybe instead of bringing you back down and up, we'll just we'll keep you up here. So let's see how this one goes, and you can decide if you want to stay or go. How's it going, King of Knives?
Good, you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. How old are you?
30.
Okay. And which God do you believe in?
Christian.
Okay. And what's your best evidence that this God is just?
History and science.
History and science? Okay. And in what way?
Well, the lineage of Israel, as well as all these amazing findings our scientists are finding every day, something new about the world, new discovery. It's like the world is so complex and amazing that even till today, we're still finding new things, and we'll do it for maybe a long, long time, because even our oceans are not even that discovered yet.
How does that relate to God being just?
Oh, well, if you want the short answer, God is love.
God is love?
Yes, technically.
Okay. And how does that follow with God being just?
Because you can't have love without being just.
Can't have love without being just. Okay.
Yes.
So does everything that God does is love?
No.
No?
No, because there sometimes has to be judgment put on the people because they've been sinning too much.
Okay. And so everything God does is just. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
You want an end goal? Yes. At the end goal, if you read the story and read the Bible, whatever you want to call it, it does have a happy ending.
So the ends justify the means.
No, not necessarily. You're just saying that, but I'm saying it's a journey.
Right. But you said it has a happy ending, so anything up
Yeah.
to the ending is justified because the ending's happening, which
Well, if
that's
you want to
what
go by technicalities,
that's what ends
it's-
justify the means means.
like justify could equal God's will. I would give you that point.
Okay. And so we can look at certain things that God has decided or in the Bible, or we can just kind of look at things in general and we can, but you said earlier, anything God does or decides is just, right?
Yeah, but I also said that not everything that God did was like good technically by our standards. There were some bad things that happened in the Bible. I'm not going to deny that.
But all of it was just in your mind.
Well, okay, if we're going to break it down, I would say it's justice for the end goal. So yes, I would agree with you on one point. Yes.
Okay, so it's justice for the end goal.
You can't just say it as plain as Jane. You got to connect it with something. You can't just say like try to make a logical point without actually referencing the topic.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to get out of you is, because I'm looking for evidence that he's just, and technically I haven't heard that from you yet because you came
I
in
said
with
yes.
this.
I gave you yes, but it's like I said, I added to it.
Yeah, and then what's your evidence of that?
Well, okay, for starters, like I said,
Because you
the
just
end
said
goal-
God is love, and then
yes,
yeah,
Okay.
and then I asked you, well, does everything God does is love? And you said, well, no, and I said, okay,
yeah. According
so-
to us, it's not like punishment is not like loving sometimes, but hey, sometimes it's in the long run it benefits.
well, couldn't it be though? Like if
Huh?
like with my daughter, like when I discipline my daughter, it's done out of love. It's not done to, make my daughter suffer or hurt my daughter. It's just because I'm trying to mold her to be an adult, right? To get her ready for adulthood. So if I say, restrict her internet, for example, I mean, she's 15 now, so it's not a whole lot. And she's really good, but if I have to restrict her internet, that's I don't do it because I hate her. You know what I mean? I do it
Yeah,
because I
but
love
God
her.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly. God does that stuff because He loves you.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right. So what moral principle then would justify a God saying that he would delight in your ruin and destruction?
Yeah, that's like one verse, man. I know this one.
Oh, I got way more. I got more, but
No,
let's just
like,
start with
that
that
was
one.
like that one. Okay, but you have to remember, back in the day,
Mhm.
God told them straight up, if you disobey, bad things will happen.
Okay.
He told them, and they disobeyed in history. Like actually, in history, they disobeyed and they started believing in idols.
Do you
and
have
that's when all the harsh talk started, and that's what you're referencing now.
do you have kids?
No,
Okay. So what would constitute, what would be a good enough situation for your parents to say to you when you were a teenager, for your parents to say to you, you know what, King of Knives, I will take delight in your ruin and destruction. What would a situation be that would be okay to say that to you?
no situation.
No situation. Okay. So I'm trying to understand, why is it okay for God to say that?
Because you have to read the whole verse, man. He breaks it down. So he was like telling you, I gave you all this and you still disobeyed, so this must have to pass.
Yeah, I've read the
It's
whole
because
verse.
He made
Yeah.
mistakes. I know,
And you've
then
explained it.
Yeah, and it's linguistically translated into a book, not just like the action is written down.
Yeah.
and that's how the Bible was written by men
Okay.
who had inspired by God, and they had prophecies.
Okay. So, but I'm still not understanding, because you said no situation for a parent to say that to your child, but yes, situations for God to say that to his people. And I'm still not understanding
No, but,
the
can
distinguish.
you bring up the verse? Can you bring up where it is so I can see it and read the whole context?
Sure. Yeah. What would the context, like under what context would it be okay? That's what I'm trying to understand.
The context of how it's written, of like he's telling you as like a matter of fact. Like
Sure.
there's different ways that the Bible speaks to you, metaphysically, physically, spiritually. There's so many different components to it.
Yeah.
So
And I'm
sometimes
asking you,
poetic way.
under what context is it okay to say that to somebody?
Let's read it so we can understand the full thing before I can make because I haven't brushed up on this one in a while.
Okay. Sure. We'll do 55 to 63. I think it's the end of Deuteronomy 28. So, but that gives you about 10 verses. So yeah, so let's just start with the 63. It says,
Wait, 63 or 53?
63. And just as the Lord took delight in making you prosperous and numerous, so the Lord will take delight in your ruin and destruction. So, you shall be plucked off the land that you are entering to possess. So it says it there at the very end, but yeah. So which verses put that in context for you?
Okay, hold on. Tell me where it's at, because I can't read the whole thing. It's blocked by your image.
Oh, okay.
Let me just.
So it says, okay. So I got to move
what's the verse?
I got to move my head around. Well, here, let me do this, because since I did the whole
You
thing,
can make it bigger.
we'll just do this first, and then we can go to the rest of it.
Is that the start of the chapter?
No, this is the verse that I'm talking about. Hold on.
I know, but
Hold on.
Can you start the chapter?
Hold
first?
on. So this is the start of the chapter. This is the one we're talking about. So, what I'd like you, because I'm gonna have to sit here for several minutes, and
I know, what chapter is it?
It's Deuteronomy chapter 28.
28:63. Okay.
Yeah. So here, let's do 58 to 63. How about that? My head shouldn't carry that.
I have my computer. Just give me a second.
All right.
28:63.
28 verse 63. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Start at 28. Overall theme of 28.
I'm not going to read the whole 28.
No.
Just
I know.
go ahead and summarize it for us. Yeah.
Can you give me like 1 minute? Thank you.
Yeah. Just summarize it for us.
I have to summarize it, but you have to let me elaborate, brother. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Blessings for obedience is the start of 28. And then it goes down to curses for disobedience. Okay. And then we'll start at like 60, or let's start at 58. If you do not carefully follow all the words of the law, which are written in this book, do not revere the glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God. The Lord God will send fearful plagues on you and your descendants, harsh and prolonged disasters. That's what I'm saying. That's the theme.
Okay.
That's the context. You have to read that before you start bringing out 63, brother.
So what I'm hearing from you is, if I said to my daughter, if you do not diligently clean your room, if you do not scrub the toilet like I need you to, if you don't get all A's, then I will take delight in your ruin and destruction. So that's appropriate for me to say.
No, it's a false equivalence, because they were doing things way, way worse than what you're describing.
They're way, way worse. Okay. So if I say to my daughter, so hold on. So, okay, well, let me kind of try to make it equivalent. So if I say to my daughter, if you run a cartel out of your bedroom and you sell D-rugs to your classmates,
that's on the scale.
That's on the scale. So if you do that, if you become an assassin and you start taking contracts, then I will be delighted in your ruin and destruction.
Yeah, but he's not going to kill you for it. Sorry, Shmurda.
Yeah, but so you're saying it's okay for me to delight in taking delight in my daughter's ruin and destruction if she does something to scale. It's okay to be delighted that she be ruined and destroyed.
I told you no, but I'm just saying God is telling you in a different light.
So
you have to be straight.
Okay, well, I made it equivalent. So I'm still not, and then you just said to me, well, no, it's not appropriate to do that for your daughter. So, well, I'm trying to understand, how is it okay for...
We can't compare ourselves to God, though.
Okay, why not?
Because we're not God.
So
we
what?
Can't really
God has to be
why
special.
Why does that matter?
Because he created everything in existence.
So what?
So there's a little more consideration than
Who
common
cares?
man.
Who cares that God created everything? I don't give a shit about that.
Did he or did he didn't? Because it matters.
So are you saying that God is above morality because he created everything?
No, God is morality.
Okay, so is it moral or immoral for me to say to my daughter, I will take delight in your ruin and destruction? Is that moral or immoral?
We already talked about this. I said it's probably immoral on that side.
So you're saying then that God is exempt from morality since he is morality. So he's exempt.
Why did this even happen in the first place? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, we already went over that. I acknowledged that it happened. Okay, so you're saying then that for certain actions, it is morally acceptable for God to say, I will take delight in your ruin and destruction.
You know why? Because he saved them in the end.
Okay, so it's okay to be delighted with somebody's ruin and destruction. That's what you're saying.
Okay, the words are like
I
if
will
we
take delight in your ruin. Is
Yeah, but-
delight. That's the word I'm focused on. Delight.
yeah, but
So-
what's the translation of like Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic? There could be
JTP.
different variations.
We just
It
happen to
means
have.
delight.
Yeah, we have
What?
somebody.
It's used. Here, let me get the actual.
Yeah, because it
characters,
matters.
but
He's a
Matter.
Hebrew scholar. Yeah.
It does.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a Hebrew scholar because otherwise I could probably pull this up in my mind. But yeah, so, but the word is
You're a Hebrew
delight.
scholar
It's
compared to
used-
me.
It's used elsewhere with the exact same sort of gleeful or
What is the word?
joyous or pleased understanding. So let me go find the characters for it real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's equivalent to joy. So
Yeah, but okay,
should God
just say- just
should
say-
God be
just say-
happy to see people ruined and destroyed?
Okay, what about the verses that all about the good and the love and the care? What about those ones you never bring up? You brought up one bad one, but what about the million other good ones that he cares for you?
Sure. So what you're saying then is if your parent loves and cares for you, says, King and Knives, we totally love you, we totally care for you, but they're dismembering bodies in the basement, that makes them good and loving people? But let's ignore the dismembering and the bodies in the basement, but let's just pay attention to all the times that they, got me everything that I wanted for Christmas. They tell me every day they love me. They make me pancakes every time I want them. They do this, they do that. But if they do all of that, but they're dismembering bodies in the basement, they're still loving parents?
No.
Okay. And so because we have passages of God, saying, I'm going to rip pregnant bellies open and dash children against rocks. But we have to focus on all the good things that God said he would do.
Well, didn't he do them?
Yeah. And he also genocided little babies too. So does that make God?
He didn't. No,
He didn't
The
genocide
people did.
any babies?
Like you're talking about when the people went in and did it?
I'm
In
talking about
history?
the flood.
No, okay, that too. Okay.
I'm talking
What
about Egypt when he set 12 plagues on Egypt.
Yeah. Did that happen
and then
or not?
unalived all the babies.
In real life, did that happen? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't believe it
Okay,
did.
I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. You want to
I don't believe it did.
But no, you're criticizing it.
Did it happen?
As if it did.
Do you believe it happened?
Yeah, in history it did happen. 'cause
It
they
did
came over
happen.
the river,
Okay, so
and then all
God unalived all the Egyptian babies. That actually happened.
firstborn, technically, yes.
Firstborn. Okay,
100%.
so what you're saying
100%.
then is that so again, it goes back to my analogy. If your parents are dismembering bodies in the basement, but they're saying that they love you, that
I
they're
can't see the
feeding you,
correlation here.
you can't see the correlation. Wow.
No, not this one's a little bit too far fetched. It doesn't really make any sense.
Wow. Okay, so what you're saying then is God unaliving babies is fine?
No,
Is
but
okay?
okay. You're taking it so out of context because there was like 100 plagues before that, but they still didn't listen.
Yeah. And so did the children not listen or did the Pharaoh not listen?
All of them, man. They all
All of
wanted
them?
to. Yeah,
how,
man.
how would babies listen and influence
not
the Pharaoh?
necessarily the babies. No, of course not. We
Okay,
already know.
so then why would the babies get unalive then?
Don't ask me.
Don't ask you.
No.
Was it
Take
morally
up God. How would you-
was it morally perfect to unalive the babies?
by our standards? No. Well, we're not God. That's what I'm trying. Don't try to compare yourself with God
Okay.
right now.
So
You can't.
so it wasn't morally perfect by our standards.
Yes.
Okay, so if God told
But
you
he also said
if
don't
God
kill.
hold on, if God told you to go to the orphanage, round up all the babies.
No, not the
and-
hypothetical, man. It's never gonna happen.
Okay, so you're saying that you never do hypotheticals. You
I
never
do, but
you
that's-
never
that's
ask
so
you never
far-fetched.
ask yourself,
That's
am I
not
going to
even
have
the- that's-
pancakes today or am I going to it's
Yeah,
so
but
far
that's not even
fetched.
the realm of You're saying something that's not even the realm of possibility.
Yet God told yet you just said 3 minutes ago that God told others to unalive babies.
Yeah, because they were conquering the land
Okay.
after that was their land. in
Okay,
the
so
beginning.
if
They did not
God
leave.
told you, this is yes or no. If God told you to go round up all the babies because they're all evil babies, and
Bro,
if God told you to do that,
yes? Do you think I'm gonna say yes to that
okay,
question?
if God told you to do
No,
that,
I'm not.
would it be the right thing to do? If God told you to round up all the babies and unalive
Bro,
them?
can we get to some like meat and potatoes, not hypotheticals?
So we're past this, I guess, but the word is yatab, and yatab is to delight or to rejoice, and it's used to parallel The fact that God says, just as God delighted in liberating you, God will, and it's the same word, delight in destroying you.
So there it is. So that's the context. So you're saying it's morally perfect for God to rejoice in somebody's ruin and destruction. That's what you're saying.
Okay, you know I'm gonna say to that, and like I said, we're not God, so I'm not gonna say I feel the same way.
Okay, yes
But
or no? Is it
he has a
morally
plan.
perfect for God to rejoice in somebody's ruin and destruction? It's a yes or no.
It's a hard one, man. It's a hard one.
Specifically
to
his
ask.
children.
It really
the nation
is.
that he bore.
Because if I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
interesting.
I mean? It's a kind of a loaded one. You give me a loaded one. I
Oh,
don't
it's a
know what to
trap.
do with it.
Yeah, no, make no
Yeah, I know
mistake.
it
It is a trap. Yeah. So why would you? So then, okay. So why are you feeling trapped?
Because I see God's love and mercy every single day. But
Okay.
I see the harsh realities of the world as well.
So love and mercy is taking rejoice in seeing somebody's ruin and destruction?
No, but remember,
That's love
he
and mercy?
still- No, but he still keeps you alive to get a better choice the
Okay.
next time.
So again, this is equivalent to your parents dismembering bodies in the basement and being loving and merciful to you, isn't it? It's the same thing.
Okay. At the end of the day, he still gave him another chance.
Okay. So if your parents give you
it's
another
loving
chance and continue to dismember bodies in the basement,
No.
are your parents loving and merciful?
No, that means they would have to stop and then be a good family after that. That's the whole scene we're
They
talking
would
about.
have to stop. Okay, so I'm still
Stop
trying
with
to
that and
understand.
become good.
I'm trying to understand from your point of view why God being God gives him this excuse. Why
It's
does
not an excuse. It's not an excuse because he has a plan.
Okay.
It's not just
He has a plan.
off the whim of his chair he's doing this stuff. No, it was all foretold.
So if you have and so how do you know then this plan isn't an evil plan? How do you distinguish that?
Oh, because we see the world is full of evil, but it's not from God, it's from us.
It's full of evil?
Cyber.
Yes.
So Cyber brings up a good point, though. And I caught this earlier too. You mentioned that God gave them a second chance, but there's a lot of execution that happens here in the Hebrew Bible as a response to their disobedience.
Oh yeah, I know.
So
If you
what
read-
second
if you read
chance
verse
do you get if
64
you're not alive?
No, if you read verse 64, it says all the bad things will happen to them. They'll go to different nations, worship other gods. You got to read the whole thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So at what point is unaliving your own children the good punishment for?
Okay, you have to understand, he made life so he can do with it whatever he wants with it.
Okay, so this is divine
That's
command
point
morality.
one.
This
This
is
is
divine
a long
command.
way to get to divine command morality.
Well,
which
it's
is,
just logical.
No, it's divine
If
command
he is
morality, which is
real-
that whatever
Oh,
God
terrific.
chooses to do, and because he has power, he can do it, and it's fine. And that's frightening. And you said you don't have kids,
Okay.
right?
Okay, so tell me right now. God is
Good,
not...
good.
I don't.
I hope it stays
Okay,
that
so
way. Gotta be
God-
honest.
Jeez, that's crazy.
I
Anyways.
really hope so because
Yeah.
okay,
Whatever, you
so
wanna keep
okay,
talk
so
that, whatever you
so
talk
let's
that nonsense, go
let's
ahead.
do one more. Let's do one more before you go because I don't think they're going to vote to keep you, but let's do one more before you go. So so what you're saying then is because now I didn't get a really straight answer from you. If God commanded you to unalive babies, would you go to hell for unaliving the babies, or would you go to hell for disobeying God if you chose?
I love your best arguments are hypotheticals. It's pretty hilarious.
No, actually, I have way better
It is.
arguments than
Oh,
that.
Well, I need a better argument than this, bro.
You don't get to get talked
You
in
guys have a chip on your
circles.
So,
man.
Get
okay,
around and
so-
walked and
so
then
you're
talk
gonna-
smack to the host.
Yeah, so you're gonna resort to meta and not answer the question.
No, I'm just saying you guys think you have a chip on your shoulder. I'm just having a good conversation here.
I don't have a chip on my shoulder at all.
You don't have kids, like, bro. Like, who says that, man?
Well, someone who thinks it's okay to unalive kids. I would-
I said no.
Okay, so but it's
I said
okay.
I'm not God. This
Okay.
You're misrepresenting me.
Not
So,
him.
You're
okay.
not even doing what's right now.
So answer the question. Would you go to hell for disobeying God for
hypothetical-
unaliving the kids, or would you go to hell for unaliving the
Can we talk
kids?
about something about substance here, about history, science, uniformity in nature, sacred
There is
geometry?
no uniformity in nature. I'm sorry. Like,
Oh, I'm
Because-
sorry. Yeah, but I'm sorry, but math and science works, right?
You
Yeah.
s
Oh, I'm
okay,
sorry,
you
bro.
saw the topic. It says God is just, and now you're trying to pivot away from that because you're
No,
terrified
because
to
you
talk
guys
about it.
asked me hypotheticals. I said
Yeah.
I'd like to move on.
Yeah. And so what we're moving
I
on is
told
to
you that
God
I'm
being
not
just.
God.
Okay.
I'm not God.
Okay. So you acknowledge then that it's okay for God to unalive babies. It's okay for God to do that.
God did what he did. Like I said, I can't
Was
say
it okay?
That's a yes.
not
Yeah.
not by my standards, but I'm not God,
Not by
so I can't say
not
it.
by your standards. Okay. Why would you worship a God that would unalive babies against your standards?
Because you're missing all the love and mercy. You're not talking about that part. That's what's
Okay.
alarming here.
And so again, if your parents
just
are
wanna
if your
demonize
parents are
God so
unaliving
much.
babies in the
Why?
basement, you said that would not be okay for your parents to unalive babies in the basement, even though they're super, super nice to you.
Let me ask you a question. Have you forgiven everyone of anyone bad has done to you in your whole life? Have you forgiven everyone?
Yeah.
You love everyone.
I wouldn't say I love everyone. No, it's not required of me.
The Bible
It's not
says
required
the
of
end
me.
time-
Well,
the
yeah,
end
that's
times
your
blood
Bible. I
and
don't give a
lightning shall
fuck
not
about that.
shine.
I don't have to love
No,
everyone.
but it's weird how all these things are coming to pass in the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't. Oh, please don't do that. Oh God.
Yeah.
But look
Let's
what's
not.
happening in the Middle East, my friend. This
Oh,
guy has
do you want to?
clueless.
Do you want to? You want to
This
get into
guy's clueless about the
prophecy?
Middle East. I'm from the Middle East. I kind of know what I'm talking about.
You
Okay.
being in the Middle East doesn't
You
mean
can have your
know anything
Hebrew,
about the
whatever.
Bible.
I'm from the Middle East. I kind of know.
It's fine that you're from the Middle East, but you definitely don't know what you're talking about as far as
Yeah,
prophecy
So
goes.
how is Israel still a nation then? Explain that
Okay.
one.
So
Because they were made a nation and are used as a foothold.
Made a
in the
nation,
area.
but what
they
about
were
their
made a
previous
nation,
nation?
and they were made a foothold. All right.
No,
So
what about the previous
all
nation?
right. So you are
In the same
pivoting.
land.
You were pivoting from the
I'm
topic.
not. We're on the same topic. What are you talking about?
God is just.
No,
That's
we're
that's
talking
that's
about
what you're
history
talking
now.
about.
No, now you're switching.
God
No,
is.
we're talking about history.
What does it
Don't switch
say?
now.
Okay. What does it say above my head? What's the question that is above my head? What is that question? What's it read?
Yeah, you're an atheist.
And is that the question, or is that a
What's your best
statement
evidence for God is just?
that God is just? So
Yeah, but you just bait
how does-
people into these like
how does
one-line combos.
how does Israel
And then you
how
take
does
them.
Israel relate to God being just? How does Israel relate to that? You brought up Israel, sir. So
Yeah, I
how
did.
does
I'm trying to
okay?
explain.
How does that relate to God being just?
Okay, so in the end times prophecy is coming true.
And how does that relate to God being
Nope,
just?
right away. I love this guy
How does it relate to God being just?
because he loves us to give us another chance at life. That's why he's just.
Okay. And why do I
like
need
now-
it? Why
like
do I
now
need
anyone
another
can turn
chance
their
at
life
life?
around.
Why do I need
Yeah.
another chance at life?
No, because we've all made mistakes, and today is
Okay.
a day of change. Today we can turn our life around and work for the better.
Okay.
Good.
How does Israel give us a second chance?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Who says that? I'm
It
just saying
doesn't.
the history of Israel. I'm
Okay.
talking about
Okay,
history.
so it doesn't relate to it at all. You just
No, you
brought
say
it
you
up
say
and
they
then-
created it, but it was been a nation for thousands of years before that.
Yeah.
that wasn't a nation. It's
Before
yeah.
that, thousands of
wasn't.
years.
Okay. We're still not going to, I'm not going to let you pivot from
I'm not pivoting. We're already off that topic.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
about
you're not
God
giving-
being
you're not-
just. So
Okay, you know my stance on it now. I broke it down.
why do
pretty
I
good.
need a second chance?
Well, because I think we've all made mistakes.
Okay. And
Okay.
okay. So we've made mistakes. Why does God need to give me a second chance? Why do I need a second chance from God?
It's just for the betterment of your life.
For the betterment of my life? How would my life be
Everybody-
better?
Because if everybody loves each other, everybody is for the greater good,
Mhm.
then what can go wrong? The life is perfect. That we got 4 seasons. We can live anywhere. The earth is sustaining us. All we got to do is lock in. But 99% of people don't lock in.
Okay.
Did
That's
you
the
just say
problem
we
with
have
it.
to lock in?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a metaphor.
No, I know it's irony. It's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Keep with your condescending nonsense, but okay.
Okay. So what you're
Have
saying,
good-
okay. So what you're saying then is we have to lock in. And how does worshiping this God with a history of unaliving babies and mothers help us lock in?
Okay. I see where you're going with this, and I understand there's been
Hey,
some
I'm not
harsh-
using hypotheticals.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not pivoting. I'm just saying that there's some harsh things in the Bible and bad things happen. But the humanity has to take accountability because all that stuff wouldn't have happened if humanity didn't screw up.
Okay.
So you got to put some
So
blame on
it's
them.
so
Don't blame
so God
on what
had
you
to
made.
had to do
No,
all
but
these
you can't blame
atrocities.
God all the time.
So God had to do all these atrocities. He had no other
Right.
choice.
So look
Yeah,
what you
because it
made
was just
me
going to
do.
run rampant till forever.
He was going to run rampant. Okay.
No,
And
so the
look-
same will run rampant till forever if he didn't intervene. What do you mean?
yeah.
They would never
So
stop.
it's an instance of look what you made me do. God is responsible for the
Basic in the most basic of forms, I guess you could say that.
Okay, so God is responsible for the good. Humans are responsible for the bad. That's
Yes,
the take you've got.
100%.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Now that was good. That was a good line.
Got
That's
it.
great theology.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Hold
It
that
is.
thought, King of Knives. We're gonna do a kick bowl because we do have somebody in the guest
No,
queue.
no, it's fine. It's all love. I'm just saying everybody knows in their heart what
All
I'm
right.
talking about. So no one can hide in their little lies. No, everyone's made mistakes. We all got to get better for each other. That's it. I'm talking about love and mercy for everyone. That's where I stand. That's what I live for. I'm a life coach. I go out into the world and look for people to
Oh
help.
boy.
That's the things I kind of do. So
Okay.
I wish everyone would do that. People
All
need
right.
help out there.
Here's the
Amazing
poll,
people.
everybody. So
No, it's all
YouTube,
good.
it's
It's all
already
good.
started, and for TikTok,
Tell me the tally.
so happy face to keep the guest, or crying face to move on to the next one.
That's a good combo, though. I appreciate it.
All right. So we're at 78% no on YouTube, and higher percentage on TikTok, 29 out of 30. Want us to move on. Okay. So got about 30 seconds left.
All right. Well, all
Anything
the
else?
best.
Yeah. All right.
No. It's not about nothing. I just, I'm a gamer. That's what I do, and I'm doing more live streams now. So I want to go meet more people and just say hello.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, I do appreciate you coming up.
Yeah. And remember, I know the Christians can have a bad rap. The Catholics have a bad rap for what they did in history. But honestly, a true Christian loves everyone as themselves and loves God with all their mind, soul, and strength, which means betterment of their life, with their family, like you're describing, teach your kids how to live as an adult. These are principles and morals in our heart that he put there. And anytime we divert from that, bad things happen. It's like the law of karma. It's the same thing. Because there is morality out there, but don't paint God the bad picture. You have to understand the bad stuff of man.
King of Knives, thank you for coming up. Appreciate you.
No worries, man. All the best.
All right,
Yeah.
have a good one. Yeah, I don't want that morality. Not at all. If it's
Also, it wasn't just Catholics, so I don't know why people do that.
yeah, it just wasn't just Catholics. It was all the Christians. But yeah, I'm not gonna take that morality. Yeah, like you said, that's just divine command theory.
That was a very long way of getting to divine command morality.
Well, just yeah. But that's the part. I knew it was there. I just had to keep sifting. I had to keep digging for it. It was there. It was there. Yeah. It was definitely divine command theory. And there was and I was trying to ask him, well, why should I even care about that? Why should we care? Well, because he can do what he wants. Hello, Ember. How are you?
Hello.
It's good to see you.
How's it going?
Doing well. Doing well.
Good.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. All right. Oh, it's been, you know what? I got an hour sleep between
Oh yeah, I
the
heard.
last few hours.
Mm.
Yeah, only an hour. I don't know why my body hates me, but to anyone who doesn't know, I've been awake since 1:30 this morning. So I'm a little bit tired today, but
Okay,
I am here to do the mod announcements. So
let's go.
welcome to Trust But Verifies Live. We have 129 people in here, and we are happy to see you. In this live, you'll experience mostly calm conversations where the spice level can get to about that of a poblano, but most of the time we're a sweet bell pepper. But when the occasion calls for it, we do get up to that level. So just be aware. Keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and we will glide you back into the sweet bell pepper levels. If you haven't yet, please do your heart me's and your daily goals. If you long tap the screen, you'll see there's a place to repost and share the live more easily. Let's try and get to, we already have 144 shares, which is amazing. So let's see if we can get to 175. I think that's reasonable. And let's get to 75K likes. I think that'll be great. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We do have an early kick goal. If we send enough gifts, it'll trigger a kick poll, which can come in handy often. If you do not want to wait for the kick poll and you just want the guest to be off of the panel immediately, you can also send a jellyfish, and that is an automatic kick. And if you are able, Trust has a subscription you can get, but always remember only to gift or subscribe if you are able. Times are tough. And I'm going to put another note in here to say, again, that he gets more of the proceeds from the YouTube than he does the TikTok. So if there's a place that you do want to subscribe, I suggest YouTube, because you can do a $3.99 option, you can do a $9.99, and there's even like a $24.99 if you want to support him more. So you have more options over there. And then, speaking of subscribing, Trust has a YouTube and Twitch. Just search for Trust But Verified 2024 and click subscribe. We also have a Discord, and the link is in Trust bio. You'll need to copy and paste it into your web browser for it to work. If for some reason you can't get it working, just let one of us mods know, and we'll be happy to help you. And one last mod announcement: please no preaching, praying for non-believers, or being rude in the chat. Please don't use caps lock either. I know it can be difficult with some of the guests that we have, but it's how we as the mods communicate with Trust and with the chat, so we appreciate you helping us keep the chat clear for that. Once again, welcome to Trust Verifies Live. We are glad to see you.
And thank you, and give them a round of applause. W's for them. Anything you can do for them, because Ember's amazing.
Well, thank you.
So,
I will drop down.
right on. Thank you, Ember. Appreciate you.
Of course.
Appreciate you. All right. So yeah, back to what we were saying, JTP. When it just exposing like the different, like just the disconnects there. Like, no, if my parents were dismembering bodies in the basement, it's not cool that they would make me pancakes every morning. But for God, it's fine. We just have to look at God's love and mercy and just ignore all the other bad stuff that happened.
I think what bothers me is the idea that God can't be held accountable.
Yeah, cannot be held accountable because he is morality, right?
And scripturally, like, that's just not the case. Like, it's always a push and pull, yelling at God, asking God what the heck his problem is, and it doesn't make sense. But Christians mostly have developed this idea that we have to somehow make God be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that works super well.
No, it doesn't.
And I've never liked the idea of like, can the clay say to the potter, why have you? Yes, it can, because the conscious, pot that I am has to deal with the decisions of the potter.
And doesn't it say in Ezekiel 18 that God actually answers to his critics and defends himself?
I'd have to look.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's in Ezekiel 18. Yeah, I think it is. It's like towards the end of it.
But I mean,
yeah.
Moses sat there and was like, "Hey, man, like you could wipe them out. You might as well wipe we out. Like you're not following your end of the bargain here."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so you breaking faith doesn't make us breaking faith, any better or worse. And so there is this push and pull.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that would be. It's frustrating for me. It's like you can't question. It's like, no, all that is just thought termination and trying to keep people held hostage by this idea that it's always for your own good.
Exactly.
Which is just abusive parenting.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like Stockholm Syndrome to me. That's what it sounds like. So let's bring up our next guest. We have Ruha. How's it going? Ruha, you there? We can't hear you, so maybe move some mic stuff around or switch to a different mic. Or
you can hear me?
There, I can hear you now. How's it going?
Trust, it's change.
Oh, it's change. Yes, you changed your name.
Yeah, I changed it. I was getting bored of that. Too many people were recognizing me. So,
Change your
but
mind.
if you got some other newcomers, I'll come up later if you go with that.
Oh, actually, you're the only one in queue, so you caught me at a good time.
All right, I'm at work. I actually got to clock out, so I mean I can come back in 5 minutes.
5? Okay. Well, we'll see you in 5.
Yeah,
I'll be here for a bit.
All right,
yep.
man.
Okay, I'll see you.
I'll see you in a minute.
All right. Well, it means I guess we are filling the airwaves until we get another guest up. But yeah, totally agree. And and so just when you start, because he was just like saying, just ignore all the bad stuff. There's a lot of bad stuff that happened by. We just you can't focus on that. You got to look over here. It's like the shiny object over here.
You got to focus on the love. Don't look at this hand. Look at this hand.
Yeah, exactly. And
and on the one hand, like if you're talking about what theology you're going to construct that's going to guide you as a person of faith, yes, marginalize the evil stuff, maximal, and prioritize what is fruitful, what is helpful, that sort of stuff. But when you're trying to justify your religiosity, or you're trying to advocate that this God, this construct of God is entirely good all the time, be prepared to look at the bad stuff because that matters. It matters
Yeah,
a great deal. And it
does matter
still
a great
matters,
deal.
even if you're going to prioritize the good stuff in your own personal theology, you still have to recognize that it is a part of a large set of constructs that often include very wicked things. And you have to be willing to kind of carry that mantle and recognize that you're intentionally doing something different because that was wrong.
Yeah.
So that's what my book is going to be about. I just started it.
Oh, fantastic.
It's called The Heretic's Gospel. I told Hannah that she is in the acknowledgments, and she was like, I'm going to cry. And I'm like, don't you do it. She goes, I'm gonna.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's awesome. Great for you. Well, I'm going to buy that book because that's going to be an interesting read. It's definitely going to be an interesting read. Yeah.
I'm just advocating for religious responsibility.
I'm here for it.
So
I am all here for it.
We've got a moral objectivist in the
Interesting.
in the chat.
Okay.
They're Orthodox.
Okay. Is this all right? So let's bring them up. Sovereign Immunity. How's it going?
Hi, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks for coming up. Just for TikTok purposes, how old are you?
Oh, do I have to? I'm over 21.
You over 18? You over 21?
Yeah.
Okay. Good enough. Okay, fantastic. And
those ages might go, it's too long, but go ahead.
I tell you, that answer alone just tells me, oh yeah, they meet TikTok terms of service. So not a problem there. Okay. And which God do you believe in?
Me.
You?
Me, yes.
Okay. Now, I do prefer to talk to people who believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, or at minimum, mind that created the universe. So do you fit any of that criteria?
Do I feel like there's a higher being higher than me? Yes.
Okay. And did that being create the universe?
Well, I don't think it's a being per se. I just think that it was like how they quote unquote say a Big Bang theory. I just think that it was sort of like air or breath, because we are a spirit inside of the flesh, according to the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
That it interacted with what's around us, which is all of us. Which
Okay.
I think all of us makes the universe.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to talk to people who believe in a mind that created the universe at minimum, or someone who believes like in the God of the Bible or the Torah, the Quran.
Okay,
It's just more compelling to me. Yeah, it's more
because
interesting.
I'm not an atheist or what you call an atheist. I'm not an atheist, but I do know that I am the God. I'm the one who creates my reality.
Okay.
I can put it that way.
All right. Well, maybe if I have another topic about, that fits more with what you believe, yeah, I'd love to have you up.
Okay, great. Thank
All
you.
right. Well,
Have a great
thanks.
one.
Have a good one. Take care.
And then I've got to jet myself and get home and
Okay. Well, thanks for
be
sticking
with my
around.
peoples.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you having me up, man.
appreciate
You're
you.
very kind about, you're, giving me space and time, and I hope I
Absolutely.
didn't cut into the live too much.
Not at all. Not at all. You contributed heavily. And I think, because I did close it down a little bit, lock it down just a little bit, but I think I've been considering having like a guest, to do these with me. I think that's a pretty good compromise, and yeah, you were fantastic. So worked out really well.
Well, I appreciate you.
Love
man.
to have you
Take
back
care,
again.
okay?
All right.
My
Take
best
care,
to you and
JTP.
yours. Thanks.
Yep. Happy New Year again. Take care. All right. So yeah. So I think I'm gonna have like one guest up. I think that's a good number because I think the way, because like some creators can get away with like a big panel of people, and unfortunately it doesn't work too well for me. It doesn't work well with I guess just maybe the way I do it, or I don't know, but it doesn't work out too well. So, but I think one guest is good. Especially like when I have somebody who's like JTP gives their perspective and I have my perspective. I think that's a good thing. We can bounce off. But yeah, it sometimes gets a little too chaotic. Because I really want to like hone in like on the topic, right? Like when I'm talking about this topic, is God just, and why is God just? I really want to hone in on that. One guest equals full focus, yeah. But but I got no problem doing one-on-ones. But I know that like a lot of folks I would bring up and, and we'd have these talks. Yeah, topic expert for sure. And for sure. And I think, Dr. Joe, that means that you and I are going to have to do a deconstruction one very soon. I know that is your cup of tea, right? So one guest host is the right amount. I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. Because then it's like 150 people watching like the five of us talk, right? And then we don't have any guests and anything like that. So, but if I have one guest host, one co-host, and then we have one guest, and it doesn't feel like it's a gang up too, because that's the other thing I want to avoid. So God is just because he will judge all evil. And not sure how that makes it just. We are here for you. One guest. Thank you. Okay. Ruha is back. All right. All right. Well, let's see what kind of trouble we can get in with Ruha. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you been, man? You been well?
I've been well. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir. Happy
Yeah.
New Year. Christmas went well?
Yeah. Christmas was great. It was great. How about you?
That's good. It was good, man. I got to enjoy a lot of good time with my family, man.
Well, good.
It was nice to be off from work and take a break.
Well,
So,
glad to hear that. Yeah. Glad it went well for you. So,
Well,
and
so how
all
do you
right.
want to tackle this?
All right. Well, I guess we can just do another angle. I actually came up with, I actually have another angle, so I can, yeah, we
okay.
can run it by you. Last trap.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to change my name because I hurt some feelings and they weren't
Really?
letting me in some rooms. Yeah, it was,
Mm.
when you put people in a corner, they don't like
Gotcha.
it too much. So
Well,
it was,
yeah, I kind of know that, but I let people out of the corner though, so
well, our conversations are always courteous and,
absolutely.
we usually try and keep it civil. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear that. All right. So, well, how about just give us, for those not familiar with you, you were formerly Change Your Mindset, but you don't go by that anymore. And just give us a quick breakdown of what you believe.
Well, Bible believing Christian.
Okay.
Obviously, I listen to the angle, God isn't just because of the horrible things that he's done, right? But I've had this argument with you before. It's kind
Yep.
of like, how do you judge a creator? It's kind of like you create your own creation. Who are they to judge you? Everything that you say is just when you are the one that sets the standard of just.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you can't really go past that. It's like the person that created baseball.
mhm.
They created all the rules. You may not think they're fair, but it is what it is. That's the
Yeah.
rules.
Now you would say that invites some problems though, right?
Well, trust, we know that. We know it's going to invite problems, but
Mhm.
at the same time, when you're the divine and you are the standard of justice, when do we come into play to say you're wrong?
Well, I think because I think that's the part of it is that if there is some injustice that's going on and, and we're not seeing a remedy for that. And also, because I think the other part of this is that I think it's one thing is say this God were just merely a creator and then had no other power, right? Had no power to stop bad things from happening, didn't have foreknowledge, like saying, oh man, I had no idea that creating this universe would lead to starvation and disease and all this. I had no idea that was going to happen, right? I'm sorry, that would be totally different. Okay. That'd be totally different. It would just be ignorance. And while that's not the greatest thing, but it's like, okay, but if we have this God that's all knowing, all powerful, supposedly all loving, all good, all the omnis, well, that's where the problems come in. And that's the part that I'm kind of really looking at. Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So here's another angle I want to take with you.
Okay. This should be good.
Yeah. So, the angle I want to take with you is, what moral principle makes it okay to commit domestic violence against women? Trigger warning, people. So just want to warn my audience.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me understand when you're saying this. So you're saying that God allows this, or God created domestic violence? What exactly are you asking with
I would
that?
say allows it. Yeah. So let me change it up a
Okay.
little. What moral
Yeah.
principle justifies allowing domestic violence against women?
When you say moral principle, like one of the um, explain that to me as if I'm a child. That
Okay.
way I can answer this in an intellectual way.
Okay. Like the moral principle of stealing. That would probably go against like the moral principle of do unto others
Mm-hmm.
as you would have them do unto you, right? So
Yeah.
we don't steal things because we don't want people stealing our stuff, right?
Okay.
Because we would know how that feels. So that would be an example of a moral principle.
Okay.
So that's what I
Okay.
mean. Yeah. So what moral principle
So are
does
you?
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say there's the principle anywhere that says that that's okay. I mean, I mean, I would never put my hands on my wife.
Okay.
And judging by the conversations and the character that I've seen from you, even as an atheist, you wouldn't do the same thing, right?
Not in
So
your life. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I would, that's when free will comes into play. I mean, it's one of
Mhm.
those things that you have to accept that free will causes these damning actions. I mean,
Mhm.
God didn't command somebody to commit domestic violence.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Now I know you're about to tell me, well, God commanded people to do some pretty other terrible things,
They sure
but
did. Yeah.
but not but not domestic violence, because I mean, why would God appear to me and say, I need you to beat on your wife?
Mhm. Mhm.
There's nothing in the Bible that would say, hey, there's a reason this would need to be done to
Yeah.
exercise some kind of issue out of my wife.
Now, domestic violence covers more than just, beating on somebody, right?
Of course, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm in a capacity where I have to deal with domestic violence often. So
Gotcha. Okay. And so, okay. And so you're saying you can't think of any situation where that's acceptable.
yeah, where are we about to? What scripture are we
All
about
right.
to pull up?
Yep. Let's go to Deuteronomy 22 verses
No,
28 through 29. Oh yeah.
of course, of
Of
course.
course we're
All
going to
right.
go in the Old Testament.
The
Yeah.
man meets a virgin who's engaged and sees with her, lies with her, and they are discovered. The man who lay with the man has nothing happens to the man, but the woman is to be beat. Right? Isn't that what this is talking about?
This is actually talking about if a man grapes a virgin
Yeah.
and then they are discovered, the man shall just pay 50 shekels to the young woman's father, and
Yeah.
she shall become his wife. Now because he violated her, I think the only bad thing that happens, two bad things that happens to the male. He has to pay 50 shekels, and I put bad in quotes. That's very questionable. He has to pay 50
Yeah, of course.
shekels, and he can't be permitted to divorce her as long as he lives. So he's quote unquote stuck with her, right? So now would you say this is this an appropriate punishment for the male or what?
No, it's not. Of course it
It's
isn't.
not?
Now,
Okay.
now we're going to argue here. Then why is it in the Bible? Right? That's about to be our argument, right?
Yeah, or why would God, if this wasn't a sufficient enough punishment for the male, why would God put that in there as a law?
Mhm. Well, I mean, there's several things. Look, we have to look back at Deuteronomy,
Mhm.
and you know this, but most people don't.
The look back.
Deuteronomy was wrote for a people of a horrible time. That was that was a standard where they were trying to get creation and humanity on the right path.
Yep.
You can't radically change humanity instantaneously. Men cannot do that. Only divine intervention can, right? Which, because of free will,
Okay.
God did not do until he sent Jesus. That's why things radically changed when Jesus came into play. And he took the old law and said, this I say unto you, love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Because love your neighbor as yourself pretty much applies to any law, almost any law that is committed against person to person.
Now is
Okay?
God?
You stole from me.
Mm-hmm.
Love thy neighbor as thyself. You hit me. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So it removed a lot of stuff. And of course, I mean, just because it's in the Bible, the Bible isn't saying that something necessarily is perfect, but it is how it is dealt with at the time it's dealt
Yeah.
with.
Okay. So
I
you're
mean, and you
saying
have to agree with that.
okay. So if I'm hearing what you're saying that the golden rule kind of fixes all this, and that the golden rule wasn't present in the Old Testament?
No, because Jesus wasn't born yet. There are going to be people that are in heaven that never heard the name of Jesus.
Okay.
Abraham's not going to know who Jesus is. Moses ain't going to know who Jesus is. But yet they said they went to heaven because of their faith.
Okay.
So there's different divisions. See, there's different separate things. Now,
Mhm.
do I say this is okay? Obviously not.
Okay.
I
So
can't say this is okay.
okay, I got you. So if because now are you saying that the principle, the moral principle of the golden rule, because that's kind of what we started with. That was an example I gave,
Yes.
and you're bringing it up. So
Yeah.
are you saying the moral principle of the golden rule did not exist until Jesus brought forth?
Well, I mean, Jesus put that forth. He said, I bring you the new yoke.
Yeah, but was he like the quote unquote inventor of that? Was that
Well, no, of course not.
okay?
But like we talk, this is the worst of humanity
Mm-hmm.
trying to become the best of humanity.
Okay.
And then Jesus came, because at this time, you got to think only certain people heard from God. They
Mm-hmm.
were called prophets. So nobody got to experience God, which was Jesus in human form, right?
Mm-hmm.
God in human form, Jesus. Nobody got to experience that. So
Yeah.
that's why things change drastically, because now you have divinity on earth speaking to everybody.
Okay. Hold that thought for just a second. I want to bring up my friend Cyber Deconstruction. Is that okay?
You asking me if it's okay?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
I mean, this is your feed, man. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, it's my feed. I just yeah,
He's
it's
not gonna be ugly to me. Though. I don't want to.
I don't think so.
I'm not in the mood.
Cyber
Okay,
is
I'm not in the mood to.
okay.
Yeah.
Cyber's a wonderful human being. Now he may like jump in and talk when you to clarify points and stuff, but otherwise
No,
Cyber is
yeah,
a
of course,
fantastic
that's
human
fine.
being. So how you doing,
We all
Cyber?
having a conversation.
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I'm not going to be up here too long, and I think Trust, you might have been alluding to it. Have you read Leviticus 19:18?
Well, there's a lot in the Bible. Hold on.
Let's
Trust. Can you
Because
pull
you
it up for
Yeah,
me?
I'll
You
pull
can
it up.
probably do it
Yeah,
faster than I
I'll
can.
pull it up. Yeah.
Okay.
1918.
you
Oh
made
yeah.
a claim that that Jesus said something, but I'm just curious. Is it possible that maybe Jesus was just quoting Leviticus when he made this claim?
Well, I mean, there are certain things that he did quote were from the Old Testament. I mean, we can't
Could you
ignore
go
that.
ahead and read that out loud up there real fast? Can you go ahead and read what's on the screen?
Let's see. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Okay, so cool.
So
What?
is it possible that like this law that you said came about because of Jesus just already existed?
Well, I mean, Jesus then brought the new yoke. I mean, that's what I'm arguing. I mean, there are several things that Jesus quoted from the Old Testament, but for him to instill them is differently. Because think about it: what if this is the only thing that existed in the Old Testament? What if none of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, what if none of that existed?
I might be a believer
Love your
because if it's
that's
love your
but
neighbor as yourself, then there's no slavery. There's no, burning your daughter for being a prostitute. Yeah, I'd be much more inclined to be a
okay.
believer in God. Yeah.
We're getting somewhere, right? But
Yeah.
how do you apply that to what is going on in humanity at that time? How do you radically change humanity if there's free will at this point? Because
Okay.
this is the worst of humanity
We're
that
at the
we
worst
know
of the
of.
worst. Okay.
Yeah, and we're in this is the worst right here
Okay.
that we're dealing with in Deuteronomy, Leviticus. I mean, God delivered the Israelites, and they're wandering in the desert, and they're going, you know what? It's hot. I think we should go back to Egypt.
Now,
That's crazy.
okay, so if I'm hearing you right, and maybe you can clear this up for me, are you saying that that God, because of free will, could not have done it any other way?
Well, let's think about it like this. Of course, as God, and being divine,
Mm-hmm.
I can intervene in any way I want.
Yeah.
But if I have free will, it's kind of like the girl that, and I'm gonna go on a rabbit trail with this real quick. It's kind of like the girl that's like, the guy won't leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
The guy won't leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
The guy won't leave me alone. Okay. So the guy is like, why don't you like me? No, I like you as a friend, which we all know means she don't like you, leave me alone. Right. So at that point, what is the quote that's going to be said that proves that you truly love somebody?
It's
If you love her, you will let her go. You will let her be.
Mm-hmm.
I can't force you to love me. What's the point if I force this woman to love me?
Okay.
What is the point? So it's the same basic principle here in free will. I'm not going to force you to love me.
Gotcha.
So
So
that gives you the free will.
all right. So now at the end of, so now if I hear you right, you're saying I'm going to let this lady go. But now at the end game, if she ends up not choosing me, would it be okay for me to set her on fire?
That's a separate issue, Trust. You know that.
It's a separate issue? It
That's
seems to be
that's
seems to be related
that's
to the same
separate.
issue, right?
Well, what are you going to bring up on this one?
Well, because
Well,
that's
he's bringing up your analogy.
I'm bringing up your
Well,
analogy. Yeah,
I
because
understand you bring up my analogy, but we're just talking about free will.
well, what's the end
this
game?
point.
What's the end game if you don't choose God?
Then you go to hell. Well, but I mean, think about it. But think about it like this, Trust. Think about it like this, Trust. Where are you going to go?
That is the issue. That's what I'm saying. Is
Where are you going to go?
Well,
He
we
said
wanna know
God.
this. Well, this is your worldview. We're critiquing your worldview.
But
Yeah.
and I'm answering that. It's
you
like,
have you
okay,
have two
so-
choices. That's what I'm getting at. So if this lady this parallel that you're drawing, are you saying that because this is very similar to if I'm just pursuing this lady? I'm married, by the way, but if I'm pursuing this lady and she says no, trust
Your wife
no,
can't hear you, can she?
yeah, never ever trust, and then so does she have only two choices, either be with me or burn, or does she have
Are
many
you
more
God?
choices?
Are you God?
No, I'm not.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's
so
where
she has
that's where
many
the
more
aspect
choices. So
changes.
the difference is so if I were God, then it'd be then it would be morally acceptable to give her a choice of accept me or burn, choose me or
Yeah.
burn.
That's really what it comes down to. Now, of course, when we're saying it, like, we're taking my analogy and we're bringing it to a fine point.
Where's
It
the
sounds
bra emoji?
horrible,
Yeah.
you know, but I mean, in reality, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't change the aspect of or the fact that you have two choices, heaven or hell. I mean, that's your two choices. I mean, because why would God force you to be in heaven
Okay.
with Him if you don't want to be there?
Okay.
Can I ask you a quick question? When you said, well, yes, hell is the thing because he's God that is justified, was there something in the back of your head that was maybe like trying to pump some brakes or something? Or was that just full chest?
And what
Like, for example, when I was practicing Judaism, because I'm ethnically and culturally Jewish, I used to be religiously Jewish as well. But whenever I
Okay.
tried to justify some of these horrific things,
Mhm.
in the back of my mind, there was something that was saying, like, well, it was questioning it, right? But when
Well,
you
Cyber,
just said what you said, was there something
Huh?
in the back of your head telling you, like, well, or did you just say that full chested?
Cyber, the thing is I can't justify anything that God does. I'm not God. I can't justify what He does. So I mean, I can't do that.
Okay.
I just can't. So I mean, I understand the question you're asking. Like, is it full sin? But I can't justify what God does.
Okay.
I
So
can't.
simply because God is the creator of all and God has power, because I think that's the other part of it. Because the other part of this is, Ruha, is if God was just a creator and nothing else, he didn't have any other power, he didn't have foreknowledge, he wasn't very loving, he was just a creator. He just created things. Would that give God license to send people to hell?
Well, you're talking about a scenario that doesn't exist, so I don't even know how I could comment on that. I mean,
Well, I'm trying to put parameters around what gives God the right to send us to hell.
but there are no parameters when it comes to God. That's the thing.
Well, that's what I mean is that because God is God, because God has all of the omnis, that gives God the right to send us to hell.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it, then that's what I'm trying to understand. If he was missing one omni, let's just say God has all the omnis except omniscience. Would that still give God the right to send us to hell?
You can't be divine and miss one. It's all or nothing.
Okay, so it's all or nothing. So that's
Yeah,
the parameter is that he has all of the omnis, so that gives him all of the rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's where we stalemate at. That's honestly where we stalemate because
Not really. I don't
well, I
think
mean,
it's
think about
stalemate.
it. but you got to think about it, Trust. Like, if I believe that a creator of creation
Mhm.
is the standard of just and righteousness,
Mhm.
that's it.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
if
that makes
God
him
is the
just.
standard of just and righteousness, that means
Mhm.
then when God puts down a law that says
Mhm.
you may set your daughter on fire if she is a prostitute,
Mhm.
that's just and that's righteous.
Well, the interesting question is, why did God come up with that? Do we truly have an answer to why God came up with that? Does that make it right? No,
Okay.
not in our eyes.
Well, I'm still asking you, is that just and righteous?
Can I answer that 100% and say yes or no to that? I can't.
Okay.
Because 80% of me says yes, right? Because he's God. But the other 20% of me says, I mean, that's wrong,
It's wrong.
right?
Okay. So
But
if God is all the omnis, he's 100%
Mhm.
everything,
Mhm.
right? He's 100% everything. He's all the omnis. How can that only be 20% wrong? Shouldn't it be 100% right?
but that's just it. That's me. It's not God. That's me.
Yeah. And so,
That's what I'm saying.
okay. And so then according to God, that is 100% just and righteous.
To God, yeah.
Okay.
But see, you're wanting me to say that it's 100% right, and I can't.
No.
Nobody can.
I'm asking you if it is. I'm not asking you to say that it
If
is. I'm
God
just asking
says
you that if it is.
if God says it, then yes.
Okay.
But even then, me, you, or any other Christian, if any Christian can say 100% that doesn't conflict them,
Mm-hmm.
nah,
Okay.
then they're not telling the truth. Because I mean, there is conflict within that, no
All
matter
right.
what.
Well, then answer me this then, because I think this is probably something we haven't even actually talked about. And this isn't even a trap, if you can believe that. It's not even a trap. But
Which part?
let me ask you this. Somebody just came to they left the queue. So I think we got some time. So Ruha, then why should I worship this God?
That's the one question.
Why ought I?
That's the one question that everybody has been asking since the beginning.
Yeah. Like,
why do I worship some?
I guess more specifically, why am I obligated to worship this God?
Well, you're not. That's why there's free will.
Okay.
You're not obligated.
I'm not
You're
obligated.
not obligated.
Well, okay. So why should I?
Why should I? Because of eternal life.
Eternal life?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it comes down to where do you want to be and who do you want to be with?
Okay.
Because God said this is your two options. It's not fair.
Hmm.
Nobody ever said God was fair, because fair and justice can veer off in two different directions very quickly. Fair and just can.
Well, that's the
Our
definition of
judicial
just, is
system
what is
shows
fair. Now, and I agree with you.
they can.
Our judicial system isn't always fair. That I'll agree with. But their principles are fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
That
have
is
a right
true.
to an attorney. You have a right to a trial. You have a right to a fair trial. All that stuff. It does.
Yeah,
does
you
it
have
always
the right
happen?
to remain
Oh,
silent
no.
and this
You have
can
the
be
right
used
to-
against you
yeah.
in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney.
Mhm.
Not afford an attorney want to be appointed to. Anytime during question, refuse this question,
Yeah.
request your attorney. Do you understand your rights?
Mhm.
You have an idea on how I know that very well.
Yeah, I have an idea. So what I'm trying to say though is you would agree that doesn't always happen, right? Things go south,
Well, of
things go
course.
awry, and it can go either way. Like the victims don't get the justice they deserve, and the and the perpetrators don't get the justice they deserve. It happens, right? Or innocent people go to jail, and they get convicted. It happens. So it's definitely not a perfect system, but the principles there do indicate that it is a fair system. So I guess what I'm trying to understand is if we're doing this for eternal life, Ruha, what's more important, eternal life or people suffering?
That's a very interesting. That's actually the first question you've asked where I really have to go, I don't know. Because if you choose eternal life, you choose Jesus, that suffering doesn't exist.
Yeah.
If you don't, then the suffering does exist. So
Okay.
I don't think I don't think anybody can honestly answer that 100%.
I don't know is a good answer. I appreciate
Like,
that answer. I really like that
you know,
answer.
because like,
Respect.
you know, as a Christian, of course, mainly. Now, as an atheist, that's easy. Well, suffering, I mean, I don't want to, suffering's wrong. You're not, but as a Christian, how do you answer that? And I can't tell you that. I mean, no honest Christian can tell you that
I'll
because
tell
I
you
mean, it's like,
this.
oh,
In a heartbeat, Ruha, I would forego my eternal life. If it meant me, if God said to me, hey, trust, would you forego your eternal life to end all suffering? Heartbeat, snap of the finger, instant.
I would
Yes.
too. I would too.
Instant. I would say, nope, take all the suffering away. Don't give me eternal life. If that's what it is, easy decision. Easy.
I would too.
Simple
I would.
decision. So,
Yeah.
okay. So it sounds like then that you value minimizing suffering more than eternal life.
I value people.
You value people.
That's what it comes. I value people.
Okay.
I value people, and I value their lives and their souls.
Okay.
That's what I value. I value people, and if I was presented with that same thing, I would say, God, if that's what it takes, then yes,
Okay.
I would happily say that. Send me to hell so they can all go.
Which one
But
does God value more, suffering or eternal life?
I think that's a neutral. I think that's something neutral that God sits on, because how can God look at you and say one thing and not the other, and then the other but not the other?
Well, let me
So,
ask a quick question,
mm,
if I may. Is it possible that God could have said, "Hey, here's the rules. If you follow these, you believe in Jesus, you get to live a good life with
mm,
me for eternity." And then he could say, "But if you live a good life but you just don't believe, I'm going to create a parallel world to that that's going to
mm.
be like the world with me. You're just not with me." But it's still going to be for the rest of eternity a good life, no more suffering, but still a good life. You're just not with me. And then if you're just a heinous human being, then maybe there's this third option. Is that a possibility that God could have done?
I see what you're saying. Like, why do we? If you're just a good human being but you don't believe in Him, why didn't God make it to where you go somewhere else but not hell, and then just the bad people go to hell? Right? Is that what I'm
Would that
understanding?
be more? Would that be more just to do it that way?
Probably so. I would agree with that, but He didn't. That's what I mean. He didn't. I
So,
mean, it all comes down to faith at that point. I mean, I
okay.
might be I might be believing a big lie. Y'all might be right. Y'all might be. I mean, we don't know.
What's
It's really what
worse?
it comes down to.
What's worse? Believing a big lie. Let's just say the lie is God just doesn't exist, right? Or it's just an untruth. Maybe it's not a lie, but it's an untruth. Or that God does exist, but God is evil. And you're worshiping an evil God. What's worse? Worshiping an evil God or worshiping a God that actually doesn't exist?
The thing is, though, is God has never been presented throughout the history of humanity as being evil. He's never been presented as evil. He's been presented
Okay.
as a loving God. Now, he's done a lot of wrong in certain people's eyes, but God has never been presented as evil. So what I believe in is a loving God. Now, hey, I might die tomorrow and just end up in the ground, and that's it, you know?
Now, you know who.
And real quick, I'm gonna hop down. I gotta get back to work, and I'm
All
not
right.
gonna drive in live. But I think you're about to get maybe, apparently, your first ever presentation of an evil god. Possibly, I don't know, Ruha. Maybe. But thanks
No,
for having me on Trust.
Yeah, of course, Cyber. Anytime.
it's not my
Take
first
care.
rodeo with Trust.
Well, I
Thank
guess
you, Cyber.
I just bring out okay. So I have a good idea of what you do, like, in real life. So let me kind of put it this way. If you encountered a person that has committed.
Be careful with this. Don't put me out there too.
No. I'm not going to dox you. Absolutely not. So
Okay,
I'm
please
gonna word
don't.
this carefully.
Okay.
And I said I only have an idea, so I don't really know. So I have an idea. But I'll just put it this way because it's more of a general question. But
Yeah.
if you encountered a person that has committed genocide or has ordered genocide, one of the two, either or, and then allows people within their organization to grape people, allows, you know, allows slaves to be taken, allows these things. And yet on the other hand is, saying they love everybody, handing out turkeys to everybody on Thanksgiving, free turkeys to the poor, right? They're handing out gifts to the poor. They are setting up clinics and hospitals and churches and all that. Where do they, but they've committed all these heinous crimes. Where do they belong?
Well, I know what I'm going to do at my level.
Yeah. Just at your level.
Okay.
What would you do
Yeah,
at
at
your
my
level?
level, I know what I mean. I got to be careful what I say, Trust, because I don't want to reveal a lot
Yes,
about,
yes, yes. Absolutely.
you know, so
Absolutely.
but obviously they would be brought to the judicial system,
Okay.
right? So, you know, and then people above me that are in a role that decide what is right and what's wrong throughout that are going to be the
Okay.
ones that decide. Now, obviously, I'm going to take my level, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my level, I'm going to do what I have to do
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to see this as wrong,
Okay.
you know,
I
because
got you.
like you said, I
And I'm
know where
with
you're
you.
going with this.
I,
Good doesn't overrule bad. You know,
yeah.
it's all a symbiotic thing, right?
Yeah.
It's all together. It's like the yin yang sign, you know, a little good and bad and good, you know,
Yeah.
like it's all a symbiotic thing. But at that point, it's going to be brought to people that decide what's right and what's
Okay.
wrong.
Now, if you heard, you know, but he gives turkeys to the poor, but he buys presents and he, you know, he gives 10 million a year to orphanages and he does all this and that. Does that change anything in your
Not
mind?
for
Does
me,
that,
no,
for you know, doesn't change a thing?
not for me, not at my level.
Okay.
At my level, I don't have the right to decide that.
Yeah.
There is a standard that I am required to deal
Correct.
with.
Correct. But it
So when it
doesn't.
goes above,
Mhm. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but
Go ahead. Finish
yeah,
what
but when
you're
it goes
saying.
above me, Trust, that it changes.
Okay.
You know, because those the screw it, the judicial system above me decides what is right and what's wrong at this point, and then
Mm-hmm.
somebody that sits upon a throne then says, okay, this overruled some of this or this didn't,
I got you.
or you know, I have the right to dictate on how much time you serve or you don't, or parole or probation or so on and so forth. So again, that doesn't that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, sure.
And
Sure.
it's kind of like us at that point.
Yeah.
We're not the judge. Now we
Okay.
can dictate what's right and what's wrong to a certain level, but I don't have the final say so.
Okay. Well, I think where I'm kind of going with this is if you heard all of these good things that this person has done, knowing that
No,
they've
it's not
committed
gonna
all
change my
these
mind.
atrocities. Okay, not going to change your mind. And then the other part of
They
it,
can't.
would it at all? Well, I think where I'm really going with this is would it at all cause you to lose any sleep at night saying, "Oh, maybe this is a good person. Maybe I shouldn't do these things to this person. Maybe I should advocate for this person." Would that thought ever cross your mind at all?
As long as I've been doing this, Trust, no.
Okay.
I sleep
Wouldn't give it
very well at
wouldn't give it a
night.
second thought. Yeah. And
No,
I think I'm with
because
you on that. Yeah, because if I heard this
no.
person doing all these horrible things, you
Yeah.
know, when it relates to genocide, rape, schmurder,
Mm.
slavery, all these things, child
All these crazy
trafficking,
words.
all these crazy words, right? And it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter to me if they were giving away, I don't care how many damn turkeys they gave away. I don't care how many
Yeah.
presents they bought for kids. I don't care,
Mm.
you know, how many orphanages they started, how many churches. It doesn't matter. It's all that matters is that none of that makes up for all the bad stuff they did. I'm with you on that. And
Yeah.
so I guess, and so then it kind of goes back to my question, and yeah, this will be the last bit because I got to go. But so in that sense, then is it worth the eternal life to worship a God that does these things?
Well, we have to look at the manner at certain things were done, man. Some
Mm-hmm.
things I can't figure out why he did what he did. Now I
Yeah,
can tell
that's
you
honest.
this
That's
on
fair.
my level, in my capacity of what I do, there are certain things that I do have discretion on that I can say misdemeanors. You know, I have discretion to say whether or not I'm going to act on
Yeah.
this. So if I hear certain things, I'm like, okay, well then don't do that no more. You know, I have the ability to do that. But there are certain things that I cannot. There's certain things like domestic violence. I have no discretion with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the ratio changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to compare what you're asking to God because it's there's certain aspects of my capacity that change,
Okay.
right? But as far as do I believe that I believe in an evil God? No, I don't.
Mm.
I don't think I believe in an evil God.
Okay. One last
I
question.
think
And go ahead and finish, and I'll ask one last question. Go ahead.
so. I don't believe that I believe in an evil God. I do believe that I believe in a God that has done a lot of things throughout the history of humanity that are questionable. I do. I will admit that. I will look at certain things and be like, "Ooh, that was harsh." Are there certain things that I read in later context, be like, "Okay, that makes sense." But there are some things I'm like, "Wow, that was harsh. I'm glad I didn't have to make that decision."
Mm.
Right. And I'm one of the few different ones on here. You know, it's kind of like I'm not this hardcore like God's always right because he's God, right? You know, I'm a little different than that.
Mm.
You know, there's times when I look at things and I'm like, man, which is why I believe he sent Jesus because God had to do a lot of really questionable things throughout humanity. But when Jesus came, he was perfection,
Mm.
spotless lamb. So is it possible that God sent Jesus to be like, look, I know I've had to do a lot of really harsh things. God had to do these things that y'all think were terrible, but they were necessary. So here is my son who is perfect. So to show a different view of a side of what he really is.
All right.
That's what I believe. Now, of course, he also sent Jesus to die for our sins and everything else. But that's what I believe.
Mm.
Because you look at what God did, you look what Jesus did, it's kind of like Jesus did a lot of really good too. You know,
Mm.
like Jesus wasn't walking the earth like with fireballs coming out of his eyes, like blowing up the earth, right?
Well, one last question, and
If it's a trap, I don't want to do it.
No, it's not really.
I don't want to end on a trap.
Okay,
Trust me,
okay. That's fair. It's really
Okay.
not. It's really not.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's a thoughtful question. Hopefully, it's thought provoking. But my question to you, and you know what? Just all the times up till now, I appreciate you, like, indulging me and rolling with me and all that stuff. It's been the talks that we have been really, really good. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate a lot of your honesty too. You've been really honest, so I appreciate that too.
You're very welcome, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have respect for that. A lot of respect. So my last question is all suffering necessary?
You've asked this question before, and it's a very hard question to answer. Is all suffering necessary? Due to my belief, it is unfortunate that I have to say yes, because there is always a time and a place for everything. Because if you say no, then you're like, well, why does God do what he does?
Right.
That's ultimately what it comes down to. And if I say yes, well, then I look like the evil God because every crazy scenario, because I mean, there's different levels of suffering. I stubbed my toe. That's going to hurt for a couple minutes.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody did something horrible to somebody that they may not ever come back from. So there's different levels of suffering. And if you say there's all suffering is necessary, you're agreeing to everything, which isn't a fair question, but I can't answer that honestly.
Okay. Well, that I respect that.
Yeah, with yes or no.
Okay.
Now,
I do have one follow-up because you said something interesting. So if we can't answer it honestly, and because it sounds like you're leaving a little bit of wiggle room for you're not sure.
Well, yeah, that way you can't trap me.
Okay, that's fair. What if you found out that all suffering wasn't necessary?
No, trust. Why'd you do that?
It wasn't a trap question, I swear.
No, but
It's
it's one of those things, it's where like, well, what if at the end, you're on your deathbed, you're like, hey, it wasn't necessary. Well,
maybe not your deathbed, but you found out tomorrow. Let's just say you found out after dinner somehow, and you know for sure, crap, so not all suffering is necessary.
well, here's the thing, and I'll answer it with this.
All right.
If there's ever a time, and I'll be honest with you, if there is ever a time that I believe that my God is not just, I'll turn into an atheist. I'll be honest with you about that.
Hmm.
Because what's the point if I'm not going to serve a God that I don't believe is just, which is why you don't believe in God. That's what it all comes down to.
Well, I don't
He's
believe
not
in God
just.
because he doesn't exist. I don't believe in
Well,
that.
but I
That's why I
mean,
don't believe in the God. Yeah.
all that's wrapped into it,
It's wrapped in.
right?
Yeah. You're right.
And,
It
and
is.
when I say that, I don't mean that specific thing. That's just part of it. Let me rephrase that.
All right.
So I would become an atheist. Like, why would I want to serve an evil being?
There you go. There you
Like
have
an
it.
overlord.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't. But I don't foresee my mind being changed on that, because I've also seen what he has done in my life, what he's done in my family's life, and what he's done for other people. Because all the good teachings of the Bible, if you apply them to your life gets better.
Hmm.
It puts you through some hardships, but your life gets better. Now, if you apply some of the terrible things that happen in the Bible, your life gets really bad. That's why the Old Testament was shown like, hey, we brought on a new yoke. So
All right.
that's where my answer is with that. Like, now, if I found out tomorrow, but that's pretty much the answer is. If I found out that suffering wasn't necessary, and God is this evil being, but at the same time, why did he create us in the first place if he's so evil?
Maybe to make us suffer
But why?
because
Where
he's
is the
evil.
benefit in that? No, but
What?
why? Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. If you had the power to create, we as human beings. Now, my wife more than
Yeah.
me have the power to create.
Mhm.
Did you create any of your children so they would suffer?
Absolutely not. However,
No.
I'm sure you have seen instances in which parents, you looked at a parent and said, there's no way you should have been a parent. Right? Am I right?
Well, yeah, but do you think they created them for them to suffer?
Not
Now,
in that sense. But I will say that there are some who think that their children are in means to an
benefit.
end. Yeah, are a means to an end.
Yeah,
like they're there
well,
to
that too.
Yeah. And in that sense, I would say that's in a lot of ways the same thing. It's like you're here for my purpose. And so I would say that there are people out there like that, that they think that their children are there for their purpose, not to raise them and to love them and nurture them, right? That it's a responsibility that these children are just extensions of me, and they're here to make me look better or make my life better. You can agree with that, right? You can agree with that,
we can go with that.
Isn't that evil though?
That specific situation is evil. Yes, I will
Pretty
agree
evil.
with that.
So why wouldn't God be able to do that then? Why wouldn't God just do that?
Let me ask you this: are there more good parents than there are bad parents?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, is it more likely that God created creation because he loved it than he didn't? Because it even shows in humanity. It even shows in humanity that there is more good in this, and this is true too. There is more good in this world than there is evil.
That I would agree with too. I wouldn't though. I don't know if I could go right out and say the likelihood of God being good versus evil. It's really hard to say that because, and here's why, because when you factor in all the omnis, you have situations in which a God allows suffering to happen and does nothing yet has the time to bless your family, do all the things that you've seen in your family's life, in you and your family's life. Sounds like you're living a pretty good life, which is great. God had a time to do that, yet I'm sure you've seen situations where God didn't have time for this child. All right. I say
Yeah.
child. Didn't have time for this child. And you also know that this child didn't have a choice to be born into this situation, right? Yet God didn't have time for this child. All the times that parents prayed for their children not to die of cancer or not to die of starvation or
Yeah.
not to get buried in an earthquake or stuff like that. And God didn't have time for that. Yet he had time for you, had time for me, you know, because my life's pretty good too. Let's just say I'm blessed by God. Let's just say I am. And I just don't believe in this God, but I'm blessed by God anyway. God had time for me? Really? I mean, and didn't have time for all these other people? Like, under what measure? That's the part that baffles me, right? Like it just seems so arbitrary. It seems so like there's no standard behind it. So that's kind of where I sit. But
The thing is, though, is
one last thing. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep you on here because you're always trying to rush off.
You just catch me at the end, man. But I do gotta go like really, really soon. So yeah, make this the last thing. I gotta go.
The question that you are asking is not something that only an atheist would ask. It's all of humanity has asked this question since the beginning. Why me? Or why them? Why do the good die young? We don't have an answer. And we can go back and forth. We can try and use the Bible. We can try and use divine intervention. We can try and say God's good, bad, devil, whatever other 1,300, it's like 300,000 gods out there, you know. But the truth is, we're not going to have that answer. None of us will. Even
I
as
agree,
me as
100%.
Christian, you as atheist, we're not going to have those answers, and it will forever be a debate until the end. Because I'm going to tell you this: at some point, me and you trust, we're going to find out.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose.
Well, I mean, when we die, we're going to find out. We're going to find out who was right. Now, one of
All
two
right.
things is going to happen: either we're both going to be in the ground, or we're both going to be somewhere else, looking at each other like, "I was right."
Well, just hope it's not the Muslim God, because then you and I are screwed.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know who Allah. No.
All right.
That's a whole.
That's a whole different discussion. But hey, Ruha,
Yeah, no.
I do gotta let you go. But hey, I appreciate you coming up, and I appreciate the talk. It's always a
look,
pleasure.
You're a good man. I don't care if you're an atheist. That doesn't change the fact
I
that you're not a
appreciate
good man.
that. Appreciate that.
But you
hey,
need to let me come up here more often.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I want to
you-
get through my first timers, but you caught me at just the right time. But hey,
I have to change my name again.
all right. Well, stay safe, because I still got to trap you more, man. I got more traps for you. All right. Don't
Hey, I never leave here saying that I lost. I'll tell you that.
It's not about wins and losses, man. It's not about wins and losses.
No.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna go be with my family, man. I hope you're going to do the same.
All right. Go get it. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right,
Yeah.
man. Bye.
All right. So that was Ruha. So yeah, I mean, at the end of it, it's like I just don't subscribe to the whole divine command thing, you know, because I think that's what it ultimately is about. But okay, let's do the last thing. Let's invite the mods up so we can give them some love and affection and all that stuff. So there's 3 pips. I thought I saw 3 pips wandering around here somewhere. And we have Sunny, who's also here. Oh, I think we might have like a full house today of mods. This is great. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. And also, we've got on the YouTube side, we have Blaster Master 80. I know Blaster Master 80 was there somewhere around there. Oh, crike. My chat locked up on the YouTube side. So I don't really know, but I know Blaster Master was there, possibly Rainbow Ash and possibly Marduk, but I definitely know Blaster Master was there. So just want to give a lot of gratitude to my mods. You guys are amazing. And I shouldn't say my mods. I should say the mods. That's the way I should say it. I don't own them. So I say the mods. To the mods of my live, thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. So can't do it without you. So chat, you guys know what to do.
Can I say a couple things just real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So, number one, ACAB. Number 2, fuck ICE. And also any eugenics talk in chat, that
Oh,
is
you gotta
that is
squash
an
that shit.
immediate ban.
Yeah, that's
It's an immediate ban.
yeah,
We
no
do
tolerance.
not do that. That's ableist. That is just for everyone in chat. Like that is not a conversation we're willing to entertain.
Yeah, definitely 100% agree. So not tolerating any type of eugenics or any shit like that. That's just not. We're not going to tolerate that. That's zero tolerance. Totally agree.
And I
Totally
second
agree.
everything they just said.
Yeah, and same here. That's a 3. So I got to say though that it's still enlightening to have these conversations because you gotta know, like, if you ever wonder, like, how could you think that, you know?
On one hand, yes, but on the other hand, whenever I've gone down that road, it's never ended well. It's just gotten worse and worse.
Yeah.
And so it's just a road, and especially for the live, it's just best that we just don't.
Yes, for what you're saying, absolutely eugenics. Yeah, no, we don't want to explore that. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh yeah. But just like the mindset that
That's
it
not
takes
what I'm
to
thinking.
get to that
No.
point.
No,
Kind of thing.
I think the only time I'd want to explore something like that is if the other person is behind bars and I'm on the other side. That'd be the only way I'd want to explore that. Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do it on TikTok or like sit in a coffee shop or nothing. No shit. Like no, not me.
Okay.
So,
Untitled, coming back on your backup account, and because you got banned, that's not cute. Bye.
well, we got him. So
Yeah, any ban evasion accounts will just be banned.
yeah,
too.
it's just an auto ban.
Especially when you out yourself right away like that.
Yeah. Evasion. I 100% agree. If you're evading bans, yeah, just ban. We don't have time for that. We really don't have time for that. So, well, I didn't see anybody who is on tonight really. But we could do because I don't see like anyone we really know well. So if you guys have any suggestions for who to raid, I am all ears.
I have no idea who else is live right
Yeah,
now.
I think it's just me basically. But I mean, there's some other folks, but I don't know them very well. I don't know them particularly well. So
Yeah, I don't know them well enough to send a raid.
yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just call it here. Yeah. So I again really, really thank you. Oh, and last thing, if you haven't joined my Discord, please do. Is Forrest Mendez on? I don't think I follow Forrest Mendez.
And someone said Mezzo. Is Mezzo on already?
Is Mezzo on? No, I follow Mezzo.
Why are they
Mezzo's
saying
not
Mezzo?
on. No, Mezzo's not on.
Yeah, Forrest is live.
All right. I don't know who Forrest is, but if y'all are good with going to Forrest, then we'll raid Forrest.
Yeah, you guys can just say trust but verify raid to Forrest Mendez. That's his username, I think. I could not tell you what is up with his profile picture right now, so I can't really describe it to you.
Yeah.
I just know that there's a pentagram on it. So that's how you can tell if it's
Okay.
him. There's a pentagram on the guy's hat.
Okay. So
E-mask.
that would be.
Oh, is that Darth Dawkins?
Is that Darth Dawkins?
That's Darth Dawkins. Okay.
Oh, is he in Darth Dawkins live?
No, he has a picture of Darth Dawkins on there with a ski mask on and
that's hilarious.
A pentagram.
That's funny. That's some funny shit right there. That's funny. Okay, got it. Okay, so I guess we will do a raid on Forrest Mendez, and I guess this is a good way to introduce myself. So let's raid Forrest Mendez, so you guys know what to do. Just once I get done here, just search Forrest Mendez in your search bar, and then go to his live. Unfortunately,
and it's
YouTube,
Forrest with 2 R's.
Yeah, Forrest with 2 R's, and Mendez Mendez, right? That's what it is. Oh, and I don't know if he's on YouTube, so I don't know if that's
Yeah, just TikTok.
just TikTok. So for you YouTubers who don't do TikTok, yeah, sorry, I got nothing for you. But
I think they said Justin is on the line right now for YouTube.
oh, on the line
That's
for
a
YouTube? Okay,
comment I
well,
saw.
that's another way you can go. Yeah. So if you want, yeah, head on over, and probably you guys already know that. So you're probably just waiting to go over there. So, okay, well, we've got that out of the way. So yeah, lastly, I do have a Discord. Everybody's invited. However, we do have rules. So they're not really, really harsh rules or tough rules. They're just simple, hey, you know, don't be an ass rules, right? So if you can not be an ass, you're welcome to join. Just don't be an ass, and you know, cut it up with us. Calmly discuss stuff, all that good stuff. So
Yeah, we got a lot of great channels
Mhm.
and some good safe spaces for everyone.
yeah, almost too many channels. Trust I'm useless. Am I useless, Rainbow Ash? Why? Why am I useless? I'm pretty. Give us YouTube raids. Yes.
any ones.
No YouTube. Okay, I have to. Okay, I'll work on that, Rainbow Ash. I see your criticism, and I will work on that. So that's constructive criticism. Just calling me useless. Love it. Love it. Okay, I will do that, Rainbow Ash. I promise. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for hanging out with me today. You know, just the fact that you give me this time is just amazing. So really, really appreciate it. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.
As well.
All right,
Bye.
have a good night.
Bye.